I want to say this. Hey, before we, get into this episode full stop, I am joined by James Sandifer, a 30-year military vet from Lumberton, Mississippi, joined the Navy in 93, retired as a lieutenant commander, been all over the world, combat zones, humanitarian missions, leadership at the highest level. Now he back home, back where it all started, didn't come home just to settle down. He came back to stand up, to run for mayor of his hometown. So before we get into the conversation, and I'm telling y'all now, it's going to be a great conversation. Y'all going to have a great time listening to this episode. I got to ask you one thing from the jump. Why are you running for mayor?
Man, it's my calling. I came back home and I seen the state of this town, and nothing to do with the other guys that's running. I have nothing to do about their inability to do whatever job. That's not my concern. But I know my ability and what I can offer to this town. I grew up here. I come back. I see where the town is at now. I see the abandoned houses. I see the broke down buildings. I see the problem with the youth, with the drugs. And I know me as a leader, bro. And when God called you to do something, you can run. You can continue to run. I tried to run. I kept telling people I was not going to run for mayor. But when God called you to do a job, you got to do it. Because you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And I'm going to do whatever I can to unite this town to conquer what we need to conquer. Period.
I don't hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
Man, I got to get to cheering before we start sometime, man. My cheering me off. You know what I mean? Let's get everything going before we even get started, man. So let's start off, right? Born and raised in Lumberton, Mississippi, right? Graduated Lumberton High School in 1993. Enlisted in the Navy that same year. We talk about a 30-year career from enlisted to lieutenant commander, air traffic controller, operations leader, some shore and operational assignments. Puerto Rico as a first duty station is crazy to me, man. Puerto Rico as a first duty station is crazy.
No, that was not good, bro.
Okay,
that was not good.
NAS, JRB, Willow Grove, PA, that's right around the corner. Djibouti, Pensacola, Florida, Virginia, what's that, Vacapes, Virginia?
Yes, sir.
CNIC, Commander CNIC, Commander Naval Air Force Atlantic, CNOW. When we talk about Navy warships, the TR, CVN 71, that was a Mediterranean Arabian Gulf, G-Dub, Operation Iraqi Freedom, USS Boxer, counter-piracy operations, USS Harry S. Truman, Operation Enduring Freedom, deployed globally, multiple tours across 4 continents, supported combat and humanitarian missions, retired in 2023, returned home, right? We're going to talk about that. Running for mayor of Lumberton, we're going to talk about that. Campaign theme, choose to change. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about affordable housing, neighborhood pride, safer streets, youth empowerment, being grounded in faith. We're going to talk about all that. We are joined today by none other than James Sandifer, current mayoral candidate of Lumberton, Mississippi. Let's get it.
That's what's up.
Hey, wow, I don't even really do intros that much. I'm trying to. I've been working on my intros, man.
Hey, you killed that one, bro. I was like, man, who did that, bro?
It's all you, man.
Yeah.
But you start looking at them 30-year careers, it's like, man, it's going to be a long intro, man.
Right, yeah.
Right,
yeah, it's good, man. That sounded good, bro. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I got to, even before you talk, I got to start off like this. Because this episode, right, they drop at 12 a.m., so top of the morning.
Wow. Okay, then.
Let's do it, man.
Okay.
Hey, so you are coming straight. We could get right to it, man. You coming straight from a Crawfish Crawl charity fund run at Veterans Memorial Park, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How was it? You don't look too tired.
Hey, the little sciatic nerve was cutting up today. So, the little disability action was cutting up today. But it was great, man. It was a great event, man. I mean, just to see with the Lumberton Main Street Association, just to see their biggest picture is to make the city better and to include the entire city in an event. And just to see, I think they had 105 participants this morning, just to be out there with them, passing out water, encouraging the guys and women that was running, bro. It was just a huge honor to be a part of that, for them to allow me to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I know you're a fitness guy. Is running in that bag too, or is it more weights and stuff like that?
Well, I do it all. The biggest thing I probably do is ride my bike more. Like the cycling thing a whole lot more than running because of the knees getting older. But I do run, probably 2 or 3 times a week. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Did you win best dressed over there?
Nah, ain't have no crawfish horns and all that on me, bro. but pictures will be coming to show the best dressed person. So that was, they had the best dressed and all that stuff. So it was nice.
Yeah. Did you get the vote for best dressed or no?
No, I didn't. No, I did not.
Okay. Did you see the person that was the best dressed?
Oh, yes.
Did they look like a crawfish?
They had the little dress on and all that with the horns coming out. So it was really nice, man, just to see the creativity of some people to do that. And it makes it fun running. And, the girl that actually won, she was out there encouraging everybody. So you could tell she wasn't out there to participate as far as a time. It was just to keep people laughing and encouraging them to keep running. So that was fun.
Yeah. Now you've been all over the world. You did a whole bunch of stuff, seen a whole bunch of stuff. Like how it felt to just be back home and participate in something like the Crawfish Crawl, something that only really happens most likely in your region.
It feels great, man. Just to see to work with the Lumberton Main Street Association, to see their vision as far as trying to break down barriers in this town, to start saying we only one town. It ain't that section. It ain't this section. It ain't this ward against this ward. It's let's unify, because together we can cover more ground. So to come home and start seeing these type of events, and even my campaign team has put on 2 events where it's a collaborative effort for the whole town to participate, because we got to stop this diversion, because with that we'll never win.
Yeah, and your story started in Lumberton, right? You were born in Lumberton, raised in Lumberton. And how was those early days in Lumberton?
It was great. My mom and my upbringings was very inclusive, where it's not this town, it ain't this person, it's not divided. Yeah. So my mom and dad instilled that in me from day one. So my experience back then, where, working in the watermelon field, working in hay, them people didn't look like me. Working for them type of, white people then, there was no black people raising, growing watermelons, doing hay, had the businesses. It wasn't many. So I learned that from an early age to say, okay, let's stay together as one. So just to come home now and see, in my opinion, the town is more divided now than it was when I was going to school.
Yeah. And that's like, you talk about more like racially divided?
Yes, racially divided. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a small town. What are we talking, like 2,000 people?
Yes, sir. About 1,700. The last census, I think it was like 7 miles. So it ain't much, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, like 7 miles long. Too, like 7.1 or something like that, to be, I think, close to exact 7.12 or something crazy like that, right? But growing up in a small town like this, I'm assuming that like that community aspect is like more like all your neighbors are like family. Like you see them a lot. Was it even a school? Was your high school? Well, it was Lumberton High School, so it was in a town. I'm guessing everybody went to that high school.
Oh yeah. And it's funny you ask that question, because when we be talking to Ray a lot, he'll be like, hey, what about bro? We got one school. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but like when I was there, it was like 4 buildings, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the same bus finna pick up the first graders is making another loop and pick up the high schoolers. Like it ain't this convoluted system, and it's literally like you get dropped off. The bus goes a little bit further to drop off the elementary kids. When they come back, it's stop a little earlier to drop off the high school students. That's how small the town is. It's very small high school. And then, moving away and seeing these high schools now, Literally, like, bro, we're not even bigger than elementary schools.
Yeah.
So it was very small to that degree when you're talking about the school system and you knowing people and you having that relationship with teachers. So this, it was an advantage, but also it's a disadvantage sometime also, because when you mess up, everybody know you messed up.
Yeah.
Right. Like getting whooped by the whole neighborhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely, right. Right, because one of the guys that was coaching when I was there, his name was Coach Preston Fairley. He went to my church. That's the church I was raised in, when I started going to church, Morning Star Baptist Church. So when he mad at you, when you go to church on Sunday, bro, you probably finna relive that because you messed up at school again.
Wow.
So it was, that's how small the town is. So it's definitely an advantage, and then sometimes it's a disadvantage.
Yeah, I feel like you.
How much has it grown since? Oh, sorry. How much has it grown since when you left to go to boot camp to now?
Oh, it's decreased. It hasn't grown.
Oh, it decreased. Wow.
Oh, absolutely. I think in 2009 I think it was around 2,700 people here. Now it's 16. Now it's different factors when you're talking about that. You're talking about the economic challenges. You're talking about the school system change from Lumberton Public School to Lumberton Consolidated. Basically, now we were a district. We had our own school system. So that could have been a part of the factor. You're talking about natural disasters. And then the statewide population went down also. So, but all of them factors has contributed to where the town is at now. Because we have factories and all that stuff. Then when I left, now all of them factories that they had when I was here, none of them exist right now.
Yeah, Lumberton got his name from a lumber factory or something like that, right?
Right. Because we have train tracks and all that stuff running through here. So it's a hub, it's centrally located. But when a couple of the factories moved out, it kind of like depleted the town. Because now everybody got to move. Everybody got to go to another school. And there's no jobs here.
Yeah.
Like before we got a sawmill now that has, I think, like 160 employees. Before that, the school was the biggest employer here. The school system was. So that put that in perspective.
Yeah. So then you grew up. Yeah, I saw something about the sawmill too. You grew up heavy into pretty much working with your hands.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and then
everybody here do
athletics.
Oh yeah, I played football, basketball, and then I had a grandfather that we want to build everything. A dad was the same way. The car break down, bro. Ain't no shop. You finna lay on the ground and get it fixed. so you have no choice.
So that means transitioning to the Navy was kind of no sweat in some aspects when it came to the physical work part, right?
The physical work part, yes, but the transition into the Navy was kind of difficult because, this is a town that we didn't go many places. It ain't like you traveling a lot. And, when we joined the Navy, we never around. We never at home. That's all you do is travel. If you want to get promoted, you travel. So that part was difficult, just the adjustment part to that.
Yeah, and just probably coming from a small town, everybody share the same outlook on life a little bit, probably talk the same. You get up, now you got fast talkers like me from Philly, fast talkers from New York, a bunch of different types of personalities. And the Navy could be competitive at times too. So, figuring out all these personalities as you working your hardest, climbing, to the top of the ranks. I mean, you went from E1, you started as an E1?
Yes.
Yeah, so you went from an E1 to a lieutenant commander. So 30 years, that's a hell of a climb. I got a question before I go too deep into Navy stuff. Is it Cuevas Fish House?
Excellent, bro. Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You said it right, bro. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bro.
So look,
absolutely, bro.
So okay, but I got Chuck Southside too as a spot to
That's
check
good.
out.
That's new. That's a new place.
Okay, all right. So you would go Cuevas over Chuck's?
I go Cuevas over anybody. I'm talking about Ruth, Chris, and everybody, bro.
Okay.
You talking about and Cuevas moved actually, so it's in Purvis, which is our neighboring town, which is like 10 miles away. But when I came up, it was kind of in Lumberton, and then it burnt. It burnt down. Then they moved into a couple of different places. Now it's in Purvis, which is a neighboring town, which is growing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't blame them for moving it. They moved it to a town that's growing a whole lot from Lumberton. But and I just traveled them 10 miles, bro. It's only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And no matter what time you go on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's guaranteed to be packed.
Nice. Nice.
You come this way, bro. We going. You will love it, bro.
I'm about to be an hour away from there in a couple of weeks. I might have to take the trip. Hey, was it around when you were young too? Is it one of those like, okay.
And it's funny that you mentioned Cuevas because, like you say, we're working with my hands. They had two brothers and the father that they was in the watermelon business and so forth. So I worked for them also when I was coming up. I'm 13, 14 years old. I'm working in the watermelon field with them. And so you haul watermelons, and on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, when you get off work, bro, you go by there, they give you the free box of fish. You're good to go. That was the first job I had. I became a supervisor in the watermelon field. Still remember. I went from making like $3 and something an hour to $5 an hour, bro. I was on top. I got to drive the tractor while we was throwing watermelons.
Yeah, then that free fish, man. That's
and you get the free fish, bro. So that's funny that you bring up Cuevas out of everything. So that's absolutely. Man. So in the early Navy years, and I feel like this was like boot camp or something, man. I saw you. I think you had dungarees on, and you had a cutlass in you, and a cutlass right now is close to my heart, for reasons. But like you had a cutlass in your hand. Was that boot camp? All right, so it's with that cutlass, bro. You know how boot camp works. What is it? 6 weeks, 8 weeks? So I left. Yeah, it was 8 weeks. Yeah, I left in December. I didn't come home to March. So that's more than 8 weeks. All right, so when you get ass mowed a couple times, bro, you eventually get the cutlass. You've been there so long, bro. Eventually you become the hard part, bro. You know what I'm saying? By default, you've been here so long, and you got all the line outs in your white hat because you keep switching companies. Eventually you're going to get the cutlass, bro. So that's basically how I got the cutlass. Oh, so it wasn't like, it was absolutely
Aaron?
Not.
Hey, how you doing? Just popped,
Hey, what's good? You hear me?
All right, how you doing?
Yeah, you good.
Hey, so good afternoon.
Yeah, we've been talking to James about the cutlass that he had. I saw him in a picture at boot camp. He had a cutlass, and I thought it was like, because he was doing big things at boot camp, man. And
I'm gonna be truthful. Bro, I'm gonna be truthful, bro. If I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna be truthful, bro. I tell you, that was I was a nobody in the first company. Then I got ass mowed the first time, and I became the A-Rock. And then I got ass mowed again. I was the A-Rock and got moved to the R part. So
you just worked your way up, like as you got ass mowed.
Oh, enough, bro. You eventually get promoted.
Hey, so what was some of the?
He don't learn the land,
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like this what they about to do this week.
Right. This was coming up. I done been through these days before.
How many division strike numbers you had on your gear?
First one got ass mowed. Two. Yeah,
I had a guy at boot camp. We called him Ass Mode Jesus because he knew everything. He was the oracle. So,
oh yeah, that was me, bro. That was me.
So what were some of the difficulties that you faced transitioning from Lumberton to like, was it because of that? Were you having errors because of that, or just transitioning from Lumberton to boot camp, or was it something else?
I would say, well, the first ASMO came because you done heard of FAST, correct? So if your VE score is not a certain whatever, I think it was a 41. If it wasn't that, you got AS mode automatic. That's like an automatic thing. You automatically go back. So I took the ASVAB only because I didn't want to take an English test that day. I hadn't studied. Mm-hmm. So we walking in, we passing by the auditorium. My buddy was like, hey man, they getting that ASVAB thing, we could join the military. I'm not joining the military, bro. I'm going to college. But to get out of this English test, let's take it. Took it. boom. So the first one came from that because my VE score wasn't high enough. And so we sitting in there, boom, you're not doing good. Well, you know what I'm saying? You got to go to this school. So I'm sitting in the class. We going through things. And they're like, we is, or we are, they is, or they are. And I'm like, man, I raised my hand. I was like, hey, this is for like dumb people. Why are we talking about this? And he's like, you must be dumb since you're in this class. So that's the first ASMO.
Yeah.
And the second one, the next two came because of my attitude. Like, I wasn't giving passes. If you say something slick, as you could tell, I have a southern draw a little bit. So if you say something slick, I'm not giving you a pass. So it was being able to adjust to, if it don't move the needle, why keep talking about it? Yeah. You just have to learn how to ignore certain people that, just say certain things. So that was the adjustment part for the Navy for me.
Yeah. So then you get out of boot camp, right? And then now I'm thinking Puerto Rico was amazing because it's Puerto Rico, but it wasn't.
Best worst duty station I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Because like I say, I never really left. Coming up. We didn't do a whole lot of traveling. My family, we was able to do it. It just wasn't a priority for us.
Yeah.
And so I go to Puerto Rico, and at the time, you had to move out of town. And so I move out of town and, just come to work. That's all you got to do. And so, you take a guy, I was 19 years old then. You could buy alcohol because you was in Puerto Rico. It was legal for you to go to the store, and alcohol was really, really cheap. So I just partied.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't, it was bad, bro. Like to the point where I had to report to my division officer every Monday morning, even if I was on an eve watch, mid watch, day watch, it didn't matter, to let him know if I fought before he go to his division officer meeting with the CO that morning. Like it was not good at all.
Yeah. You
I almost transferred a promotable by myself. The old eval system.
Damn.
Like, literally, bro, the only way I got a must promote is because my leading chief went on leave and they changed it the day I left. It was bad.
You really got to not like somebody to give them a one-on-one.
Promotable.
Like you really.
That was me.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I was a part of it.
It was me. Yeah, it was me.
Yeah. So then, like, I'm assuming you learned a lot on that tour. The next tour. Yeah. Okay. So the next one.
The next one.
And like, what's some of the lessons you learned on that next one?
I had a guy. His name is Jack Morris. He actually seen something in me that I did not see in myself. He was like, man, you just putting on, because I was like, man, I'm doing this duty station. I'm out of here. I'm getting out of this. I don't want to keep doing this. So let me just go to Virginia and get out. But I would tell you, man, that's why I'm a firm believer in leadership is a quality that it's either in you or it's not. I don't think you can teach someone how to be a leader because he's seen something in me from his instincts and from our energy that we shared. Like you just putting on, I'm going to work you. You know how to work. So I'm going to get the best out of you. And from that day forward, man, when you just have someone sit you down and just talk to you like you're a person,
yeah, and
show you how to do different things, that was the turning point in my career. Absolutely. I went from a dirtbag to an E5, leaving that ship, qualified, both welfare pins, going to the schoolhouse. And the thing that's so unique about that, so we talk about the division in the town. The thing that's so unique about that, he don't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
Our pigmentation is not the same.
Yeah.
So that's why I say we gotta, get rid of the division in this town because it doesn't matter the color of someone's skin. It's all about their heart and what how genuine they are to actually help the other person. And you just feel that. It's an energy thing for me. And he was the turning point of my career by far.
Yeah,
one of the best mentors that I have. And we still in contact to this day. Because
and that's one of them advantages I think that we get in the military too sometimes. Like not everybody, because I'm from Philly, so it's a melting pot of people as well. But some people from places where they ain't never seen nobody that don't look like them. You know, so us being able to like work with people and have mentors and have people that have been impactful to us that don't look like us, and then coming back, and I'm gonna ask you about this later, but then coming back to our communities where some of our communities never had that like versatile experience, and being able to pour into those communities and stuff like that. That's the unique thing I think that's about like where we work. Because we got to work with each other. Even some civilian places, people could kind of like create cliques and groups and all that. We got to work together. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a great thing about the military. So now we talking second tour, great leadership lessons, got you on the way to go to. You said you want to go teach after that. You want to go
went to Pensacola
because you got your MTS over there, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now you just on the up. Now you just on the upslope. Now you just doing good, like going up that ladder just for the rest of it all, right? What was some of the challenges? So this is like 93.
Right. That's when I joined in 93. I got to Pensacola in 2000. Actually, I checked in to Pensacola in March of 2000 and I was an E5.
Yeah. So from 93 to 2000, what were some of the early challenges in the military comparable to what was going on out in the world?
I would say for me in the air traffic control world is my accent, for one. You know, I'm being told you're not going to make it because of your accent. You're not going to make it because there wasn't really a lot of us, a lot of blacks in the air traffic control world at the time. You didn't see a whole lot of black leaders in our community. And so we had a guy that came to the ship, which was Seth Fitch. He was I think he was the second black master chief in the air traffic control world. And just start seeing that type of stuff like, man, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then the challenges was just to adjust. Bro, you don't always need to be right. You don't always have to make sure that someone understands you. They don't move the needle, just get away from them. Because if you fight, you getting in trouble. It's a guarantee you are in trouble. So are they even worth it? So I would tell you that's the lesson I had to learn. And then for me, it's just, you might have to work a little bit harder. And the best man don't always win, but always do your best.
Damn, I just told somebody that just like yesterday.
You know what I'm saying? And so understanding that part of it, and like I said, when I went to the schoolhouse, like I say, I got there March of 2000, I was an E5. I didn't make E6 on that exam. That was the second time I had took E6. I made it in September of 2000. And my next eval, which was in November, I got an early promote, my first eval ever as an E6. And my first eval ever, and that was the biggest pool of E6s for the air traffic control community. I think it was like 50 of us. And I was the last EP because somebody told me that didn't look like me, that wasn't black. This is what you need to do. X, Y, and Z. And then I had another mentor. That was Senior Chief Johnson and then Senior Chief Garland, who's black. And he was at the schoolhouse. He was a person that a lot of people went and talked to for leadership and guidance. And they just told me, do this, 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 and this, and let us take care of the rest. So I got my MTS. I got qualified in every block, the different, like, I was in C school teaching CATSI, but I got qualified in block 1. That's the fundamentals of air traffic control. I got qualified in block 2, which is the tower. I got qualified in block 3, which is the radar portion of it. So you just do your part. It's going to look like you're doing a lot. It is. It's going to be hard, but just do your part. And I did everything they told me to do. And so when the evals came up, I got to early promote my first one, which was November. And I made E6 and what was that? I made E6 in September. So I got the next year, in November, got a early promote. And I made chief. To this day, I only have 2 evals as an E6. Literally, I got the first eval was a early promote. The second eval was a closeout. And I made chief. So I checked in as an E5 in 2000. And in 2002, I put on chief.
You're ready for the league.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I tell people, like, just do what someone tell you and put it on them. If I tell you to do X, Y, Z and let me handle the rest and you do X, Y, and Z, let's rock. And so that was a lesson. That was the biggest lesson for me. But, you know, you're talking about somebody 27, 28, I think, when I made chief. I wasn't ready, but I was surrounded around people that, okay, you need to learn this now. You need to learn this. Because, you know, when that uniform change as a chief, man, the world changes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's totally different. So learning that lesson where you can't do certain things anymore. You can't go over there and party with them tomorrow. No, you're not going.
Yo.
Because I was young, you know what I'm saying? So all of my buddies, they weren't promoted. So I'm 28, bro. Everybody in the chief mess, I used to call them like, man, y'all old. But I'm the young guy now. So it was just, you know, them type of lessons that I learned early, and I appreciate that.
You know how I learned the lesson not to party with a bunch of younger people, younger sellers? You know how I learned that lesson? At a party.
That barracks joint you talked about?
Nah, yo, I was at a club in like Hawaii or something, man. And I think I passed out, man. You know what I mean? Like,
what were your rank then?
I was a chief. That's what I'm saying. Like I was at a club. Vibing and like the first ship as a chief, I'm vibing, having a good time, talking, coking and joke. Who knows what I was saying because I was drunk, right? So who knows what I'm saying? It's probably some craziness. But I wound up like passing out. I guess I passed out or I went to sleep. One of the two. You know, sometimes you don't know. It's either passed out or sleep. But the CMC. Yeah, eventually the CMC is like right. Eventually the CMC is like walking me to a cab. And I'm like, yo, what happened? He's like, yeah, we gotta go. You know, somebody was like, like they told you to leave. Like, you know, the DJ or something told me to roll out. So, you know, we went, and then the next day, that's when the lesson was learned. When I got back and I heard like the stories, you know, and it wasn't like stories about me blacking out and going crazy. I have stories about blacking out, but this wasn't that. It was stories about just the sellers seeing me like that. Right. You know, like other chiefs like checking. And it was a few of us. It wasn't just me, but other chiefs checking us and all that. From then on, I was on a straight and narrow, man. I ain't played no games. I was on a straight and narrow. That was like my first experience on Liberty as a chief. You know, so I learned that lesson fast. And I thought I was going to be able to handle it. You know?
But did y'all, as like young chiefs, did y'all have like a different level of access or reliability to the divisions? Like James, like you said, you in the schoolhouse, did they view you as like, yo, you the young buck? Or did you see like, did it give you a different level of way of communicating?
Oh yeah, because you know the stuff they're going through. You know, you got to imagine, 2000, I was an E5. So all of some of them still E5, some of them E6s. So I knew the stuff that they was going through because at the schoolhouse, they got different workrooms. So they got the E6 and below, and they got the chiefs over here. And so it was easy for me to walk over there and to relate to them. I just left.
Yeah.
Right. And then even with the students, I'm only 28, 29, 28, 29 at the time. So it was different. It was different.
Yeah. Same answer. I was on that. I was like 28, 29. I was on that.
Right.
Y'all probably passed the same mixtapes back and forth. Like, oh, let me get that, chief. Yeah, man. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's true.
I was making mixtapes. Like, I was on that. I was on that. Hey, Jay, so, like, now you're in the Navy now, 7 to 10 years. How often are you going back home to Lumberton?
Probably probably 2 to 3 times a year.
Okay. And is that to see mom and dad, or is your whole family? Do you
my
got
whole
other
family just about here.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, my whole family is just about in Lumberton.
Dang.
So I was, I'm coming home, and every time I come home, bro, it's the whole family around. I'm coming home. It's partying. So it was nothing changed. Because they don't know. They just,
didn't think he was rich, did they? Like, oh, you got that military money.
Yeah, they did. All the time. Yes. And then I would tell you, like, for me, trying to be part of some people's circle, I didn't change that narrative either. So I would come home and it's just like, oh, okay, man, like, man, how many cases of beer y'all want? Boom, let's go get it.
Yeah.
What y'all want for liquor? Oh, I got it. Don't worry about it. You get back and your credit card is on swole. You know what I'm saying? You get back, the credit card is acting up.
Chill on the ship for
because they don't know.
As a junior seller, it's like you come home from Philly. I'm on the ship for a couple weekends.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just a different level.
What's your thought about OSs, man?
Here we go.
They want to be our traffic controllers that couldn't do it.
All right. So, James, little background, man. I am an air.
I knew you had to be OS. AIC. Somebody,
AIC,
hey. Yes,
right?
I already knew it. See, when you said I already knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, you guys do the hotel. Hey, show them out. And then we take them out to the party. And then y'all bring them back. I respect y'all. You know, I lost a couple EPs to some of my AC brothers. But I don't know if you know, remember, I think his name was Strickland. Actually, Mo Strickland.
Maurice.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Oh, yes.
He's a good, he was a grad for DLCPO. He put me on. He was good.
Yeah.
Shannon Lynch.
She worked for me at CNIC.
Yeah. So I had AC mentorship, but you know, they respected me as a controller. Maybe you could get on board too, you know?
Not controller, bro. We just respected that you can talk to a plane. Don't controller. Come on now. Come on now. Talk to a plane, yes. Hey. Controller, y'all really ain't controlling. You really just telling somebody to go shoot somebody down. That's where you at. You really ain't controlling now. Come on.
We got the SCIP shows a different thing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right.
He got the money. He put a Drake move, man.
Yeah, he did. The money. Yeah, you see how he did that?
I stole more records to you.
Yeah, I go to Top Gun for a
reason. Love it.
Throughout your tour, right? You learned a lot of lessons. What was your biggest lesson?
And which one?
Throughout your career.
Make the playing field level.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest lesson I learned. Mm-hmm. Make the playing field level. Don't do no favors. Because favors will get you caught up.
Mm.
Make the playing field level.
What's the hardest lesson you learned?
Don't put yourself in predicaments that you got to explain yourself.
Yeah. Mm. Did you ever put yourself in one of those?
Real. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Outside of the first duty station? Or just the whole
absolutely.
First duty station?
Listen, I didn't really learn till like later.
Oh, okay.
I just learned okay, you can still mess up, but if you're real good, they'll take care of you a little bit more. So if you're, you know, as we say, if you're a dirtbag and mess up, they finna throw the book at you. But if you're real good, yeah. So, and that was the thing, man, is just don't make, just make the playing field level. And not get yourself in trouble. And then as far as for me, it's just be smart, man. Just be able to explain whatever decision you make. Be able to explain it.
Yeah, I feel like in this time, like subject matter expertise was very important. You know what I mean? You retired in 2023. So I'm wondering if you've like from your spot, that you kind of retired at, or from your spot that you worked your way up to, were you able to see like how subject matter expertise, and this is my viewpoint, so you might not even have the same viewpoint, but in my viewpoint, it looked like subject matter expertise is taking a dip. It's taking a little decline versus like a lot of people I know that joined in the 90s, where it was what you know made you who you were. Like, all of that. Did you notice anything like that? Or
I did, because people started getting promoted a whole lot earlier.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to, it's a business at the end of the day. So, if you keep giving people the opportunity to promote, of course, they'll stay at a job. And I would say that even when I made chief that early, bro, I don't think I was ready. I look back at it in my first 2 years, like, I don't think I was completely ready. Now I'm going to do the work, but as far as leading people, as far as being a mentor and all that, I can personally say I don't believe I was ready for it.
Yeah. What was your favorite tour?
Why do you say you weren't ready? Like, what was the challenges that you were facing that made you feel like you weren't ready for it?
I still wanted to hang out with the people I shouldn't be hanging out with. So, and I found a way sometimes to still do it. I can be honest about it. Some people, like, oh, I ain't never did nothing wrong. That's not me. So for me, it's just being able to detach from a whole lot of stuff that you're familiar with. And I had a hard time doing that, because the people the world I got into, I couldn't relate to them. Mm-hmm. When I made it, it was a lot of old heads in there. This is what you got to do. Boom, 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 boom. The Navy was different. You don't talk to people like, bro, like, why not just go over there and talk to the person instead of just nailing them to the cross? You know what I'm saying? So just my thought process was a whole lot different, which didn't go along with the leadership. I would say it didn't collaborate with how leadership wanted to see it.
But you don't
used
think
to
like
bump heads when you tried to? Oh, did you used to bump heads with your peers during that time when you would try to like, because you understand, because you were so early making chief, and you still kind of had like the junior sailor mentality, or you understood the struggle, I would say, of the junior sailors. When you tried to advocate, did you feel like you were always bumping heads with your peers, with the other chiefs?
Absolutely. Even before I made chief. So I go back to a job I had, and it was in 98, 99, I believe. So I was an E5, and they put me over fire watch. And typically on a ship, when you're in the shipyards, fire watch are all the derelicts. That's where all the people get in trouble, send them to fire watch. We ain't got to deal with them. And I was an E5, and so that guy, Jack Morris, recommended me to go to fire watch after they was having a whole lot of problems with people skipping out on jobs and so forth. So I go to fire watch. I'm an E5, and I think we had like 100 and something people in fire watch at the time, and probably 10 first classes. I'm watching how they operate, and I'm like, that's not making sense. And so one day the senior chief walked in as a joke and say, Sandifer, you in charge. All the E6s work for you. So I'm like, all right, how do this work? So I go back, I talk to my mentor, Jack Morris. We have a long conversation. And so I go back down there and I'm like, hey, when do you want to come to work? I don't want to come to 10 every day. Okay, I'm going to just need the hours out of you. When do you want to come to work? You want to come early? And it made sense in my mind, in which it actually worked, because if you have people that don't care about money, only care about time off, make it convenient for them to come to work, and if you're getting the job done, what's the problem?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And when I'm telling the leadership, like, this is what I want to do, absolutely that won't work. So what do? I still do it and just not tell them now.
Yeah.
And then when they realize, and then when the contractors start saying like, hey, I don't know who's in charge now, but people not walking off the job, they're not sleep on duty anymore. Fire watch, they made this big change. And I was only there for like 2 months. And that was my first name that I ever got in the Navy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was on there for like 2 months at the end of the shipyard period. So, but I'm bumping heads with them. I'm like, what, the easy way? I'm just not going to tell them and do it anyway.
Yeah. I just told somebody to.
So Aaron, that was the difference when you were talking about it.
Yeah. I know Aaron got a question. I just told like going off what you just said, I just told somebody the other day to just do it. I'm like, yo, just do it. Just lead. Like, just take charge. Like, stop. Don't wait for nobody to tell you. Just do it, yo. And I think she understood what I was saying, but yo, just do it, yo. And that's what you did. You just did it. And then they going to find out later. Like, you can't, like, when you talk about changing things and you talk about like growing pains and all that, it's not going to sound normal. And it ain't going to sound easy because it ain't never been done before. So just do it, yo. What you had, Aaron? I know you was going to ask something.
Well, I was bouncing off of what Tisha said is the question about bumping heads. And James, you said you wasn't ready, but I think that kind of makes you like a better asset, because you coming into the chief's mess as a young chief, right? You're not that far removed. So you're going to challenge things and bring that perspective. And I think you being able to relate and not having that old head way of thinking, that's what made that fire watch. You able to think, all right, look, bro, I'm not here to lecture you. This ain't going to work. What time you want to come in? I'm focused on the main thing. I think only somebody who's young or doesn't have that group think we're able to do that, So,
yeah.
But it works in a chief mess. It works in an organization that people are going to give you the opportunity, though, right? So when I checked on as a ship, so I leave Pensacola as a chief, I check on to the GW. The leadership that was there at first didn't agree with that. Like, nah, this is what we doing it. And I worked for another master chief. He's senior chief at the time then, and he made master chief. Man, him was like this, man. Like, it was bad. Cause, I come in, I'm younger, I'm a gym rat. He an older guy. He thought he was a gym rat. So now it's like, you know what I'm saying? Who's the biggest dog in you know what I'm saying? Who's the biggest dog in here? And so I can relate to the people, but he's boom, 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 boom. Bro, you ain't been on the ship in like 10, 15 years, bro. Stuff done changed. I just got through teaching cats for a long time. And before that, I was on a ship. So stuff done changed. You know what I'm saying? And we bumped heads. So when you say bumped heads, bro, to the point where we go in ATO, our transfer office. Devo sitting there. I told the Devo, I said, man, me and him need to talk. I'm a chief, he's a senior chief. And he was that guy, a senior chief, like senior watch bill coordinator. So he had a whole lot of pull on the ship. And to the point, we didn't even eat lunch together, bro. I literally hated this dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so we go to the point, and I tell my Devo, I say, hey, can you get him to come to ATO? We go on ATO, bro. I'm standing there. He walks in. I say, you know what? The only way we're going to solve this, that's why I say that other mentality kicks in. Say the only way we're going to solve it is you take your senior chief angles off. I'm going to take these chief angles off.
There it is.
Devo,
I was waiting for it.
I say, Devo, come back in about 15 minutes. And nobody knows what happened. When we leave here, literally, we just walk to the burden. Like, we just get this over with. And he looked me in the eye and he said, do you think I'm going to fight your little young? I said, no, you ain't going to fight me because this is what you do. You bully people, blah, 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 blah. But the lesson he was trying to teach me is stand up for what you believe. And me and him, I mean, it was bad, bro. But at the end, he is one of the reasons why I put in the LDO, put in for LDO. Like, he was like, bro, you are too young. Literally, he made me put in a LDO package. Him and my Devo, like, you will put in a package. I'm like, bro, I don't want to be no LDO. Make Master Chief. It's too early. I know I can make it. You know, if I make it under 20, bro, I ain't got to do nothing for 10 years. I'm chilling. You know, I'm just thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm just thinking like numbers, bro. Like, listen, I can get to 30, bro. I'm like 10 years in and I'm on the boat and evals is going to be looking good this time for me. I'm eventually going to make senior chief, bro. And by default, all the years I'm going to have to make master chief, eventually they're going to have to promote me. They're going to just run out of options. So I'm doing all this in my head, but then he was like, nah. He said, because we need good chiefs in the wardroom also. So you will put in a package. I'm like, absolutely not.
Hey, James,
and then I ended up putting it in later.
Out, man.
Huh?
I think you're leaving something out, man.
we didn't do it. But I wanted to.
You made that man touch every bulkhead in ATO. I think.
No, I wanted to. I wanted to, bro. Listen. And me and him talked about it, bro. Like, and he was that guy and I think for me, he was that guy that was known for bullying people. And then what I did leave out is, prior to that, like I say, I was teaching at the schoolhouse. And so for CATSI, we come down, we do team trainings. You know what I'm saying? So they came down to do a team training. And it was like, hey, we got the new chief coming. Come work with us. So I go in there and he's putting out a policy. And I'm like, that ain't going to work. Bro, I'm teaching it. That is not going to work what you just said. This is my ship. I'm going to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's dumb. And he was like, you a chief, blah, blah, blah. Bro, listen. You ain't finna pull that right now. I don't care because you're a senior chief, bro. What that mean? No. They ain't finna fly with me. That is not going to work. So me and him is like, this to the point, bro. They there for 2 weeks. And I was supposed to have been working with him. My senior chief that I actually was at the schoolhouse called me the next morning. Listen, he said, man, what happened? So I'm telling him the story. He said, don't go back up. And he's trying to change your orders now because he do not want you on the ship.
Yeah.
But we ended up at the end, bro, like with a great, great relationship because he was like, hey, there's some stuff you do that, you know, you need to work on. And he was like, I do need to change my ways a little bit. So, you know, you know how that works, man. Who's walking around with you know what I'm saying? Who want to be the guy? Yeah. And I was like, bro, like, I'm that dude, bro. I'm young. Like, they ain't listening to you. Yeah. And so it was just a different mindset. So that was one of the lessons I definitely learned quick.
Did you lead a command as an officer?
Yes. Well, actually, that's why I got picked up in 2003. Right. So the first package I put in, I got selected for LDO, and then I left there and went to Willow Grove.
Yeah. So then you was officer of about 20 years.
Right.
And what was the just thinking about it? What was the biggest difference between being in the mess and then going to the war room for you?
Bro, instant is an instant is an instant. So you show up and they see that ribbon rack. Like when you call on the phone, bro, when you call PSD or something, you say this instant such and such, bro. All right, we'll call you back, bro. You call as chief, whatever. I don't care, bro. They finna move everything up. Yeah. So. And that was a lesson that, you know, that was hard for me at first because, bro, I was like, I'm that person that when I was on the ship and they told us in school, which was incorrect. What they call it, scuttlebutt noise or whatever, scuttlebutt noise or whatever. So it was a lie that if you was eligible for senior chief when you got picked up, automatically when you make ensign, you're a senior chief. 3 years later, you're a master chief. Remember, I said I wanted to be a master chief, bro. So I already mapped this thing out. Them 3 years later, when I become when I'm about to put on lieutenant, I'm a decline, and now I'm a master chief, bro. I'm chilling.
Yeah.
So literally, bro, they was like, bro, do y'all see the money difference, bro? I don't care about the money difference, bro. I'm out of here. So literally, bro, on the ship, because bro, I hated being an officer at first. You know what I mean? I could say that. You know, like, bro, I was like, nah, I don't like this. Because in the wardroom, until when you walk in as a chief, senior chief, or whatever, bro, like it's automatic respect because they know what you did to get there. In the wardroom, it's different, bro. When that CO says something, bro, like you not until y'all develop that, you ain't finna say nothing. Even if it don't make sense, I tried that once, so that was another lesson I learned. You know what I'm saying? I said something as an incident, and it was like, oh man, like I'm just be quiet the next time. I just show them that ain't gonna work. Don't mention it won't work.
But they see,
man, they don't care nothing
you
about
are not you ensign, 01E. They see enlisted warfare like, yo, I'm not that. Same animal, different beast. Don't talk to me crazy.
You're an ensign and you're a JG, bro. You're an ensign and you're a JG, bro. I'm finna tell you how that works.
Get down and lay down.
Like, listen, bro, you're an ensign and you're a JG. Like, you know what I'm saying? But once you develop that over time, they'll start listening.
Yeah.
But when you get there, bro, you're an ensign or you're a JG. You know what I'm saying? So that was my biggest lesson. And so what I made it known, like every ship or every duty station I went to, I check in with the CMC. I developed the best possible relationship with the CMC because that's how you're going to get stuff moving. Because if your homeboy ensign, bro, that's just two ensigns that can't do nothing. But I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying, bro? But if your go-to is the CMC or that, you know what I'm saying? When all them chiefs realize that you're a prior chief, because you got to imagine, you're ensign or JG, it matters, bro, if you was a chief or you a first class. Like, it's some people that hold weight to that.
Yeah.
So they still don't know if you're a chief or not. So when you talking about, they sit on warfare pen, but you could have been a first class.
Yep.
But when they find out you're a chief, it's different. And so for me, every duty station I checked into, the first person, like, you're going through the checkout, you ain't got to check in with the CMC. Man, what? I'm going to go down here, bro. I'm going to develop that relationship. Yeah. And then when you develop that with him, and then your LCPO and all of that stuff, letting everybody know he a prior chief, blah, 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 blah.
Street cred.
What? Man, listen, life easy. I could get more on the ships than my chiefs could because I just developed that relationship with the chief mess. But it was, bro, I'm
That's
telling
like
you, when I went
to the mob, man,
bro,
checking in.
Literally, when I made it, you wasn't automatically permanent. You're not permanent until you sign a letter. When you make lieutenant, you permanent. You sign a letter saying, I accept the permanent appointment.
Yeah.
They sent me the letter. I'm on the ship. But I'm not signing that. I want to revert back. And then when I called Bupers, they was like, nah, if you revert back now, you're a chief. Because it's years that make you get promoted. It ain't where you was at. At 16 years, you automatically senior chief. 19 years, you automatically master chief. I only had in 15 years at the time, 14 years at the time. So I'd have been reverted back to a chief. Like, man, that'd have been wasted 6-7 years on you know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why I didn't revert back. I was literally trying to revert back to enlisted.
When was
glad I did now. Looking at that check, that retirement, I'm glad I did now, but I'm good.
and as an officer, when was the first time that you felt like a leader?
Well, I felt like a leader the whole time, but it was just so many restraints within the leadership world of when you lead a chief petty officer aspect of it within everybody else. But as far as within my division and within my department, I always felt like a leader. So I never felt any different. Okay.
And then you went to CNIC was a pivotal tour for you too, though, wasn't it?
Oh yes. That was huge, man. I was actually think they've been there for like 20 years, 18, 17 years, something like that. And so I was the first Black to ever get that job as an officer at CNIC. So that was huge for me to get that job and just to show, stop complaining about what you can't do. Just put yourself in the position where people have to choose you for certain jobs. And that was my biggest thing about going to CNIC as far as being rewarded. That was probably the best phone call I got telling me what job I had got selected for CNIC. It was huge. Very emotional day for that.
Yeah. What was your favorite tour?
Probably CNIC because you affect the entire Navy. You know, you don't really do that much with ships, but as far as all the shore duty facilities and all that stuff, like all of them work for you. So when you going around and decisions you are making are directly affecting a whole lot of sailors.
Yeah.
So and then just people seeing you, you know, you being relatable. You know, you're going around, and so you know what I would do when I check in for the inspections. Let's have a commander's call. Let's sit down and let's talk like normal. Chiefs, get out. Let me just talk to the enlisted. And I would break it up just like we would do a division officer call at every duty station I went to. That was definitely rewarding. And then, you know, to get the phone call, sir, I made, I made E5, or sir, I made E6, or, you know, them the calls that everybody, you know, that solidifies your career when you start getting them calls all the time. You're like, I made it. Like that was huge. So that CNIC by far, just because from the respect level and from the perception level of we could never get that job before. And I'm like, man, don't use that no excuse. You got to work. Like, stop thinking of that. That's an excuse right now.
Yeah. So man, it's funny. Like this conversation we're having right now, it echoes so much of a conversation I just had on Friday, and I can't really talk about it because they told me not to.
Right.
They was like, hey, don't, let's keep our. For real, it was one of those. It was like, hey, CMC, like, can we trust that this is a confidential conversation? I'm like, yeah. As long as y'all keep my contribution to the conversation confidential too, then let's have a real conversation. You know, I'm be honest. Like that's what I told them. Like, as the respect I got for because they talk about having safe spaces, right? Yes. So I'm like, the respect I got for y'all safe space. Just know that I respect it as a safe space. So this conversation I'm having with y'all is safe space. Shit too. I'm sorry for cursing to all the people that's listening. But it's also
violate that.
Yeah, it's also a responsibility that you have, even if you're in that safe space, to not say nothing too stupid.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So now, when did you start prepping for? Because I'm looking at LEGGO, right? And that's leading extraordinary greatness, given opportunities. Was that something that you were prepping? I probably said it too fast, y'all. So leading extraordinary greatness, given opportunities. And that's life coaching that you do. I think it's some fitness coaching in there that you do. Right. When did you start game planning for that to be the next chapter?
I always been a life coach and never realized what I was doing. And I got that trait from my mom. She was really big on that, like giving people power, making them understand their worth. So, just to the point where it was just like, all right, when I do get out, what's next?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to really work because I think I done worked too hard. So, I'm like, I'm going to move back to Mississippi, and I don't want to really do much. I just want to be able to give people a voice. So I just think it was just God sent, because I was getting my master's in something totally different. And then looking at Liberty University, and I'm like, life coaching. So it's like, let me see what this is about. And I started studying the life coaching side of it. And so it just meant so much to be able to give my life experiences back and be transparent, just be authentic to my journey on how I got here and make people understand like their worth. And so that's by far, man, doing that, the life coaching side of it. Because, and then the weight training side of it, and then the fitness side of it, as far as the losing weight. You can get anybody to lose 20 pounds, but how do we keep it off? How do we change a mindset where when I'm not around, you thinking about what you need to do? anybody can go, all right, we're gonna go get a surgery, we're gonna do whatever and lose whatever kind of weight. But how do you change your mindset? Because if you don't change your mindset, you're going back.
Yeah.
And then just start reading different books, man. 4 Agreements, Chop Wood, Carry Water. You just start, when you start identifying and just start reading books and just like, oh, okay, how can I get that to someone else? And I was like, man, I love it.
James, with your education, you said how you were pursuing a master's in something else. Speaking for me, like I changed my degree plan several times, so I figured I'm gonna do something I want to do. But what was your master's in before you decided to make that pivot?
I was hoping nobody asked that question, bro. I'm saying I shouldn't even say that. No, that's good. So actually, my line brother, because I am part of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, so my line brother is a pastor. So I like to understand the Bible. So my first degree was actually in theology. And so I'm going on that, and I'm like, bro, this ain't. And then I'm like, you know what? And I just I talked with myself. I actually did a class on life coaching with them myself. And I know that sounds crazy when you just break it down to yourself. Like, do this really make sense? Because I would tell you my bachelor's was totally for the Navy, 100%. What's the quickest way I can get there so I can get promoted? So that, don't leave no gaps. And I was like, what do I really want to do when I get out? And that's how I switched it to life coaching. But the first one was theology, which was good because I learned a lot on, the different parts of the Bible and how it works and how it intertwines. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to get that mindset where if you can go to school, don't do it for like the things that's on the ladder or the ECP. It's like, nah, man, do something that you want to do, that you're passionate about. Because if not, that schoolwork is going to suck. And next thing you know, you paying back TA. So,
and it was rough, man. So actually, when I actually got my master's, I had just got to CNIC, and I hadn't been to shore duty since Willow Grove, really, per se. On a shore duty side of it, at an actual air station. I went to vacates, of course, but that's like airspace eccentric. So you're not dealing with a shore duty facility, right? So like a tower with a runway and different things like that. I hadn't did that since Willow Grove when I first got commissioned. So when I went to CNIC, bro, I was behind the power curve. So it's studying all day long for my job. I'm getting to work 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm there to 5, 6. Now I got to do homework, you know what I'm saying, to get my master's, and I'm traveling. I was probably on the road 150, 160 days out of the year. We traveling, if not more sometime. And COVID hit, I'm actually on the road even more because Shannon Lynch, who you mentioned earlier, she had twins. She couldn't really travel because of COVID, so I'm like, hey, instead of treating you as a master chief, now I'm looking at Shannon. I got it. Worry about your family. I do all the traveling. You stay at home with your family because that's more important than anything. Yeah. I do it. And so now I'm doing all of my traveling. So now I'm over 200 days a year. I'm gone. It's always gone. Literally, I'm coming home on Friday and back on a plane on Sunday or Monday morning, flying to somewhere else to do inspections. And so it was rough, but it was way worth it. And then that taught me to listen and understand instead of listening to respond. That was probably one of the greatest lessons getting my degree.
Yeah.
And put yourself in that spot. You can be having a disagreement with someone, but if you're listening to respond, you'll never come to a resolution. But if you listen to understand, you understand their point of view. You might not agree with it. And so it taught me to like, okay, if you're not ready to do that, don't have a conversation. Wait.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people now. So it's definitely love my degree.
Yeah, and I think that's going to really help as a politician. I think that's genuine as a politician, listen and understand versus listen. A lot of politicians, man, they listen, and most of them already got like prepackaged responses anyway. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like you'd be like, hey, can you talk to us about what's going on with the education? And they like, yeah, about the education. It's because of these, it's because of the healthcare. And what I'm planning to do with the healthcare, it's like, we asked you about, So I got a question about LEGGO. So I guess one of my questions was about the purple, but I'm guessing that comes from Omega Psi Phi. So the power of prayer, you spoke on the power of prayer before. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on it again. That's all.
Man, prayer does everything, man. So I'm going to go back to 2000. Well, 2002 when I made chief. So I was in that first group that went to 100 questions, 100 military requirements, 100 rate questions. I was that first group that actually took that test in 2002, I'm sorry. So before I take the test, I'm sitting there in the parking lot. I call my mom. Hey, I'm about to take this test. So she knew I had been studying. And she was like, hold on, I'll call you back. I don't know what she did. She called me back. You'll pass it. You good. I don't know what you just did, but okay. So I go, take the test, make board. And so then, right before they was like, hey, results, I just start the anticipation. Hey, the results should be out in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So I call them like, Mom, like these results supposed to be coming out. This is huge. And this was prior to my department head said, hey, you're real young. You're probably not going to make it. What's your plan after you don't make it? And I'm like, what you mean I'm not going to make it? He's like, you're not going to make it probably. You're too young. And so I'm like, okay. You don't know. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I was like, you know what? Well, I'm sorry. Prior to that, I already had matched my EOS and my PRD up. So I'm like, bro, I'm out of this thing. I'm good. I can leave on a good note now, bro. I'm not a dirtbag no more. I'm out of here.
Ready to bounce.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, listen, I was getting out a whole lot, bro. I'm like, I'm out. And so I done matched that up. And, he came to me then. He was like, well, why you doing that? I said, well, I just want to give myself options. So time comes, boom, then he comes back and tell me that. So, you thinking the results about to come out, and I call my mom and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. She was like, hey, call you back. And she was like, hey, is this when you talking about a brown uniform, when your uniform changed? I was like, yes, ma'am. She said, go buy a set. Absolutely not. Like, nah. And so I was like, you know what? And so she's real big on prayer. She's real big on faith. This is what she's telling me, like, bro, you got to have faith. You just got to go do it. So I went and bought a set. So the dude that I was hanging with was Irvin Beavers. He had made chief the year prior. That was my guy. I tried to buy him and not tell nobody. So I bought him. And he actually come to my house and he's looking for something. And he's like, bro, I know you ain't bought no khakis. Oh, boy. He's like, oh, I hope, boy, when you don't make it, we gonna kill you. So he the only person know at the time. So I'm like, man, this is not gonna be good. And so she was like, you gonna make it. I'm telling you, go buy them. And so the night before, it was like, hey, go home tonight. The results are out. That's when the COs used to call and tell everybody they made it. Go home. And, the CO call you, you'll find out if you made it or not. So I called my mom. I was like, hey, they told us to go home. She's like, why are you worried? I told you made it. So I'm like, Mom, well, how you know? And so she was like, man, the prayer warriors. We didn't already prayed about it. We didn't already prayed about it. It's a guarantee you made it. Like the prayer warriors, it's already been revealed to us that you done made it. So I'm like, man, I'm not like, who the prayer warriors are? Who are these people? Because bro, you know how it is in name, but this chief name, bro, that is huge. So literally, I'm like, man, who's the prayer warrior? So she tell me their name, and I'm like, all of them are great women of faith, but like, how they get the power? What did y'all see it? She was like, don't worry about it. You made it. And so the power of prayer, man, like I go home, I'm sitting on my floor, I get the phone call, and literally when the CEO called me, he was like, hey, this is, Captain such and such. He was like, is this Dennis Smith? And that was the guy at the schoolhouse with me. Like, me and him was like running mates, first class also. And he was young. He had in like 7-8 months more than I did. And so I was like, no, sir, this is not him, but this is James Sandifer. And he was like, hold on. Probably only like 10 seconds, bro, but it felt like 10 hours to breathe. But I'm gonna tell you, probably only like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So he comes back on the phone because now I'm thinking like, I'm a thinker, bro. So now I'm thinking like, why would he even have my number? He got to have my number for something. So he get back on the phone. He was like, oh, congratulations, you made chief, blah, blah, blah. So bro, I'm screaming on the phone. I was like, well, hold on, like Dennis Smith, like, can I call him and tell him? He's like, 5 minutes, give him a call. And you know what I'm saying? Then you'll better ask him, did he make it? So, but give me 5 minutes first. And so when you was talking about the power of prayer, bro, I seen that really like work, and that came from my mom. Like that was huge. Yeah. And that, bro, to do that, and it was like, man, whoever you talking to, I sure hope they seen that message. This is gonna be bad.
Miss Wanda, right?
Yeah, Miss Wanda. Yes. Yeah, they call her Carolyn, man. Sweet Pea. Yeah, she was definitely. Pea. Yeah, that was my boo, man. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and a part of like you moved back home, but you also moved back home. You moved back home after she passed, right?
Right. Yeah, she passed in 2012.
Okay. So another question I got before we go, because we're about to kind of go there, and you moving back home and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you talked about the fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I love that because I feel like some people run away from arrogance like so much that they like dilute that confidence.
Absolutely.
Or they try to like hide it or whatever like that. They don't embrace confidence because they running away from arrogance. It's like this fake humble thing. And I see it so much. Mm-hmm. And I heard you talk about it, but I also just wanted to hear you talk a little bit more about it right now.
Man, you did your homework, bro. When I say you did your homework, bro, you did your homework. Hey, man, that's good, bro. You did y'all good. Y'all did your homework. I tell you. And I would tell you, man, that came from, even running for mayor, I heard, a couple of people, related to other people, like he's arrogant. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, arrogant? Like, I don't understand like how y'all say I'm arrogant. That's not a true statement. And so that's what made me do the research for that, man. Like, I'm just confident. Like, I know what I can do and I know what I can't do, and I'm able to admit what I can't do. That don't make me arrogant. You know what I'm saying? That don't. If I don't fool with you, or you have nothing to move the needle, and you have nothing to offer me, why do I need to? What we need to talk about? If you're not willing to listen to me, or you're not, you know what I'm saying? If we don't have anything in common, what do we need to talk about? And I think us, people say, list us as successful in the military. What makes you successful? Different people got different things that they can say that made them successful in the military. But I think people that really believe in themselves and confident in themselves, that rank did not make you successful.
Yeah.
You want to make rank for your own personal goals, but that didn't make you successful. It's all the other stuff behind that rank that made you successful. So with me coming home, it's like, oh, he's arrogant. He's this, he got the cars. He did this to the house. Bro, that didn't make me successful. It just made me be able to afford it. That don't mean I'm successful. And that's the part where people get it confused, where if you say something that, I don't need to dilute myself to make you fit in with me. I'm not going to water down what I have accomplished to fit in your group. I just won't come to your group. And, because you watered down yourself. Who are you?
Yeah. And I mean, we all should be around people that we want to like rise with. You know what I mean? Like they always say like, yo, you got to find friends that's doing better than you.
But if you're the smartest in the group, you're in the wrong group.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to surround myself around. And so that's what I try to teach the guys around here that, that's willing to listen. I had a guy like tell me like, man, like, you just stay true to who you are. Why not? I don't know how to be nobody else.
Yeah, but it's
too hard.
That's like the best thing to hear, though. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. That's probably the biggest compliment, I think. Like you.
But what about the person that don't know you that say you's arrogant? Yeah. They don't know nothing about you.
Yeah. They don't know your preparation.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
If you a person like you talked about, if all these people invested in you, you took the time, you well read. That's not arrogance. That's confidence in your preparation. That's confidence in knowing you met the moment.
Yeah.
If Steph Curry shooting from half court, no one says he's arrogant. It's a crazy shot. That's a Steph Curry shot. That's normal.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what I tell people about me. They're like, man, like, it's easy. The gym is easy for you, Bro, getting up at 4:30 in the 4 o'clock, 4:15 in the morning ain't easy for nobody. I just made a determination in my mind that I'm getting up at 4:15 because I know if I don't do that, excuse me, it's a whole lot of other things in the day that I'm not going to accomplish because I got clients and so forth and so on. So that's not, I don't know. It just really fine, especially in a small town like this. So that's, you hear it, but here is, but then again, you got, all right, it don't move my needle. So I'm not going to let it change me. Because if I say one person, bro, if I get one person to start a business and they started because of the information I gave them, we won.
Damo, could throw a question in real quick?
Yeah, real quick though. I just want to say this real quick off of that. When you say something easy, when somebody say something easy, man, it minimizes the work. It minimizes the work that goes in and doing it. I've always felt like that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. There's a captain that I work with. She's prior enlisted and she's pretty tall and she's very confident, right? She said that there's some times where she would sit down for like a little bit longer in certain meetings. And it's not because she didn't want to minimize herself, but she knew that the way she lands, like, some people are intimidated by people who are taller or certain accents, right? I don't know how tall you are. I did see some of your things talking about your platform as you run. You being a guy that's in shape, that's confident in his body. I don't know how tall you are. How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11"? All right, 5'11" solid. All right, cool, right? So, like, do you find like sometimes
checking out the videos, man?
I'm like you. We do our research.
Y'all did your homework. Hey, listen, mad respect. Mad respect.
She well read. She legal. She gonna read.
Mad respect.
Yeah. But do you find like sometimes if you kind of meet in a moment, you're like, hey, you know what? Let me throttle back, or maybe I'll land this way, or you're like, nah, I'm here. Come as you are. Like, how do you do that before and now as you run for office?
Man, so I'm gonna go back to a story, man. I was telling my mom this, and this was when I just joined the Navy because people like, oh man, like you this way, right? And I used to tell my mom, like, I wish I didn't look how I look. I wish I didn't have the dedication to my body that I have, that I want to look a certain way. And yes to that back then. I used to try to do that because I just want to fit in. I want just let me go in the back of the room and just fit in. And now, when you walk into the room, you don't have to say nothing. You ain't got to say nothing, bro. Like, now I don't care how you look at me because I am who I am. But back then, you're younger, you're trying to fit in different places you are not meant to fit in. I try to minimize myself so others will feel comfortable.
Stimulate.
Now, I walk into a room, I am who I am. I'm not walking now boastful. I'm just walking in. I'm going to have a seat and I'm going to just listen. Now, if you feel intimidated by that, that's on you. Yeah. So even, when you're talking about the mirror thing, not like when I go to board meetings and I go to, other platforms or other events, I don't need to be seen. I'm here. Now, how you perceive that is how you perceive that. But I'm not going to sit in the back of the room and try to be really, really quiet for you to feel comfortable. Because who are you if you try to be somebody else? And that's what, that's what a therapist taught me, and it works. Most people think I'm an extrovert, right? Say like, hey, you're an extrovert, blah, blah, blah. So she told me to take the test. But when I took the test, I got the results. So she sent me to a website. You ain't got to enter no information. I did the little free test. And I always used to do it, and I always just come back ISTJ or something like that, right? But if you're around everybody around me, they'll swear I'm an extrovert. But I'm not. You know what I'm saying? It's just in groups that I know people, I'm going to talk. I'm familiar with you. I'm going to be more interactive. In a group that I don't know, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to listen, and I don't need to be noticed. But if you feel a certain way, and if you feel I'm arrogant off that, it is on you.
Yeah.
So just something learning about yourself and identifying that and leaning into whoever you are. And I had like you say, I tried to minimize myself, so I can definitely relate to the captain at one point. But who are you? Because then you're not effective, because now you're trying to be somebody or not. So you're spending energy on something that is not natural to you. And now you lose, and you're going to be putting that energy somewhere else. So you only got 100%. I don't care how you divide it. When people say 110%, bro, you're wasting 10. You pour 110% of water in this glass right here, it's going on the ground. What's the purpose of it?
Damn, man, this echoing so many of my conversations I'll be having, man. Like,
and that captain, she is confident, but she's like, yo, I don't want to take away my platform from my people that I got to advocate for. But nah, she stand up and she holds it down. But she's like,
but in that, but I would say, not to cut you off, my apologies, but I understand, because sometimes you have to minimize that to get to where you're trying to get to also. Mm-hmm. So if it take me changing to get to validate my point and to get more, to think you winning, I'm not changing who I am. I'm really thinking I'm really letting you think you're getting a win, but actually I'm getting what I want. That's she just understanding the room, and she know what she has to do to take care of her people.
Yeah, that's the first law of power, pretty much.
There it is.
First law of power. You know? Question. How important is it that, to you, how important is it that vets come back and invest in our communities? Do you think it's important at all?
For who?
For veterans to come home and invest in our communities that raised us.
Well, I think it's very important, man. I just look at, I think a lot of times the knowledge get left because they come back home and they're tired. And the knowledge just goes away. In this town here, some of the people I talk to now, they was vets. They came back, they didn't retire or whatever, but they are vets. And just the knowledge get lost. And that's just from whatever reason. So for me coming back, I believe in, like we had, I didn't talk to all the prior mayors that I know that was mayors in this town to get that knowledge. How can I be good? If when you was mayor, what was your lessons learned? And that's the same as vets. When they come back, you can do your lessons learned, or you can sit back and do nothing. And that's just not who I am. So for me, it's very important to take that knowledge and not let that knowledge just go to waste. Because if you don't use it, it fades away. And that's with everything in life.
Yeah, even active duty, man. I always keep telling myself, hey, sit on some of these town halls, get on some of these city council meetings, and kind of become a part of the community I'm living in. I think we do so much, man. Like you've been on carriers, you've been CNIC. I think we do so much that give us the experience in dealing in these situations with a whole bunch of people, high stress, whatever it is. We are made to be able to deal with that stuff. But some, like you said, some of us just be tired. I'm tired,
because we don't. But what I would tell you, man, when you getting promoted in the military and putting yourself around the right people, what I recognize is with vets, we get to the root of the problem. Everybody sees a lot of surface stuff. Even in Lumberton right now, we got potholes. Everybody, we need potholes. Okay, we ain't got factories. We ain't got jobs. So what is the root? And as when you go into a division, like for me, I don't want no good division, bro. When I check in, I want it to be, I want the CO to be mad at the department head. I want it to be terrible when I check in. You know what I'm saying? And so you're going to be able to relate to this one. When I check into the yards, bro, when I check into the yards, I want to check into every ship in the yards, and I want an unqualified CATSI team. I want to go to teams the first time. The only thing we can just about do is pass the test. And when we're doing the team training, we are struggling to make it. I wanted to be in the dumps. Because that's when to me, that's when you define who you really are. So it makes you work. It makes you do the homework. It makes you don't look at what's surface, what everybody see. Okay, we need this call. Yeah, we need this call. Well, how do we get here? And so when you train these people to get to where you're trying to get to and make them understand your vision, man, you got the best team ever.
Yeah.
That's Deion Sanders, Colorado. He's like, I want them. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to build from the ground up. Yeah. If it's trash, that's on me. But if it isn't, that's on me too.
Right. I love it, bro. I love going somewhere. It's just bad. And so, even as, when you're a leader and you get people to follow you and they ain't even got to see your vision, that is a leader. And that's how I look at this town. And so that's how I ran all my divisions. When I check in, bro, don't give me no debriefs. I don't know about the people. Just, we're going to do this QA inspection, quality assurance inspection. After we do that, don't tell me about no people unless somebody about to go to jail. Don't tell me your perception of them. Are they lazy? Are they good? I don't care about none of that. Let me develop my own relationship with them. Let me do my own homework to develop what my plan is. What your plan was, it really don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So it just makes you work harder. And when you work hard and you sit back, it's like, wow, look at that. It's just like, you have somebody to come work out with you, and it takes them 21 minutes, 22 minutes to walk their first mile, and they keep stopping. You know what I'm saying? They're about to die on the treadmill. And then, months later, they running a mile. You be like, wow. You know what I'm saying? That's where I get the satisfaction from.
Yeah.
To seeing the transformation.
That Rocky montage. You know what I mean?
I love it, bro.
So choose to change. Choose to change is the slogan. I love it. I love the slogan. It's simple. It's 3 words. 2 of them start with the same letter. And it makes sense. Choose to change. It's easy to remember. It sticks. It looked good on a swag. It looked good on a clothes y'all got, and it looked good on the people that's in the clothes. Yeah, choose to change right there. What made you go with that?
Because I think this town, they got a decision to make. The current mayor, I think, been in there 12 years.
Yeah.
So you got to choose to change. You got to choose. You got to get out and vote. If you don't vote, nothing changes. Yeah. And so this town, if you look at the aldermans and you look at the mayor, it's just like this. Yeah. It's a repeating process. This person may go out this year because he ran for this. The next time he goes somewhere else and still get the same, get another job and another, what I'm saying? It's just a repeating process. So my message is you got to choose to change. If you don't choose to change, we're going to be stuck.
Yeah. And you out, man, what you just said, I got like a couple questions coming off of that. But before I go there, like, man, you out on a trail right now, man. You all over the place, right?
And and that's my reason behind that. No one has ever done what I'm doing. Ever. Yeah. It's never been done here. My dad, we've been in this house 30 years, 40, whatever long. But he say like the whole time it's only 2 people that never came to this house to ask for his vote.
Yeah. And I saw you go to the house of a lady. I don't know how old she is, but she was either in her, either late 60s. Yeah, she was 70. So what you talk about, Tish?
It's because you start aging women, You start aging women. Gonna get us in trouble.
She's not like 20. She's not like 35.
Yeah, she's an older lady.
She looked 40.
Yeah, she's like an older lady.
She's an older woman. But the significance of this was that her age was significant in this conversation because what she said was nobody ever came to my door and had this kind of conversation. So the significance was like she'd been around for so long and never dealt with, somebody actually coming in, and she let James in and they had a conversation. And I just thought that was significant to see that happening like that. I'm sorry to the sweet woman. If I did, I actually called it younger. I called it.
That's 70 plus is the goal, right? Health is wealth. Like live for it,
Yeah. So you getting out there, you knocking on doors.
Because my thing was, you can have the whatever kind of meetings, you can have the town halls and have everybody come and, you say what politicians want you. You know what I'm saying? Like the politics side of stuff.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to say for the politician world, right? My thing was this. I want to go to every door myself. I don't have my campaign team doing it. I don't have nobody else knocking on doors but myself. I have knocked on every door. And I got 1 ward left. I'm like 30% finished with that ward. Because we got 4 wards here. And I done knocked on every door myself. Every registered voter in Lumberton, I done knocked on it. No one else.
Yeah.
And so that was very crucial to me because if you have something that you want to ask me, you ask me then.
Yeah.
If you have something you want to talk about, I'm available. So instead of saying, we're going to go out today and, you got everybody just hanging out signs and, giving out cards. Nah, we got to change that. You got to get out and let people know they're important. What they think is important. How they feel is important. Because everybody's different. One person care about the roads, the other person don't care about the roads. One person care about this, this street light ain't came on in 2 weeks. It's just different. And so you just, and I'm teaching them how to prioritize stuff. And I tell people, like, I'm not going to lie to you. I try to do that, but that's not that's not going to make the list at first. And I'm not even going to lie to you. I had a cousin, hey, when you become mayor, we need to do this. Absolutely not, bro. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just, nah. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's not important to me. You know what I'm saying? In the big scheme of things, that means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I love you, but that means nothing to me. It don't hold any weight. So I just feel like, bro, when you give people a chance to meet you as a person on a personal interaction, it just means more. Like you're CMC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, if you just only do CMC stuff and never go around and talk to people, bro, you're ineffective. I don't care how good of a leader you are. But if they see the CMC, hey, everybody's important.
Yeah.
And you make everybody feel important. And it's just, and my mom taught me that. Just make everyone feel important.
Yeah.
Aaron, you was about to,
I was about to say,
Tisha,
go ahead. Yeah, I was about, earlier I was about to ask what were those conversations like, but then you just broke down like how honest you are with them. But there was something else I don't know. I lost it. But you pretty much answered the first question that I had of like having those honest conversations with them and kind of gauging the expectations. And I believe they see the authenticity when you do that, because like you said,
I like that.
that word was about to kill me just now.
Yeah, and it's funny because
do me like that too. So I feel
question. He answered the question already, Tisha. Like, so you don't even got to go through all this.
I know, right? But no. I just like the idea of them going around and knocking on the doors, because that, especially in the world of social media right now, that's a world that's kind of like gotten lost over time. Yeah. Everybody just want to post up on social media and like that's it. And then how many people actually come to town hall meetings? It's probably those same faces that you see, or the disgruntled people that are coming, to make some noise. But you got to get out there and you got to engage with the community.
Yeah. I would tell you, it ain't easy. Man, listen, it takes a lot of time. Because one day you leave and I'm like, all right, I got 2 hours to get out here, 3 hours. I know I could probably get like 30, 40 houses done, and you end up getting one house. It just happened the other day. Literally, I left the house and I'm like, okay, 2 people asked for signs. All right, let me get them their signs. Because I don't ask nobody to put a sign in their yard. If you call me and say, I want a sign, I'll bring it to you. But I'm not going to ask you to put a sign in your yard, because that means I want a sign there and you don't want it there. That's just a thought process, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so one guy had called me. He's like, hey, man, can you bring me a sign? Absolutely. So I was like, all right, I got 2 hours. Drop his sign off. And then, I got 2 hours to campaign. I dropped his sign off, and 2 hours later, I left his house. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it was a great day because we got to, we had some real authentic questions. You know what I'm saying? Real questions.
Like, let's chop it up.
Yeah, let's talk about this, bro. Well, how would you handle this? And it was not, it wasn't like, hey, what about this road? Or what about this street sign? It was real stuff. Like, what are we gonna do about, the literacy problem we have here? What are we gonna do about the overall school grade that, we historically stay within the CD, range?
Yeah.
What do we, that's the stuff we was talking about to just develop that bond. So I love doing it. I mean, like, it's to the point, like my campaign team, like, I'd be like, hey, let's do this. And I'm like, no, we're not. You know what I'm saying? They have to stop me on a lot of stuff because, in the military, like, bro, let's get in front of it. Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to assume anything. Let's talk. And they're like, nah, we got to stay on schedule too. Yeah. So, they helped me out to that point. But like, it's never been done. So when you say choose to change, I can never think of no one else having an official campaign team, but one of the older guys that I talked to that was mayor, I went sat in town and talked to him. He's like, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Get your campaign team, get this. You know what I'm saying? So it just, and then getting out in the community and then going to talk to them every now and then. It just, I'm loving it. Like, man, I love it, bro. Besides the dogs, you know what I'm saying? You're running from a dog every now and then, but it's fun.
The aspect of going to the ballot box and seeing some name of a person that sat in your house and you had a conversation with is a whole lot different than going to the ballot box and seeing the name of somebody and just seeing the D next to it or R next to it and making your decision that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got a question. I don't know, Aaron, you still got your question or did Tisha take it?
No, it's kind of, once again, it kind of builds off it. She said about the community aspect, right? So, it's 2025 and most people, when they hear the doorbell or a door knock, they're like, man, it's a bill collector or I don't want no light insurance or whatever, right? So your ability to go door to door, is that unique just being born and bred in Lumberton, and that's unique to Lumberton as a town? Or is that just, hey, you know what? This is how I'm going to go forward. Does being from Lumberton and the identity of Lumberton facilitate you able to go door to door like that, where other people might not do that option as they try to do outreach?
I wouldn't say it's doing it basically derived from my campaign team. I can't take credit for that. Like, because I'm not a politician. I was like, hey, how are we going to get it out? And I'm like, social media, bro. Let's put everything on Facebook. But then you got people on your campaign team that's like, everybody's not on Facebook. So how do we reach them people? And then they start looking at numbers. You got this many houses, this many registered voters. Let's just go to every house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. When you hey, you got to admit when you don't know something. And I ain't know that part. So I'm like, all right, let's see how it works. And I'm like, that should be easy. And at first, bro, I'm going to tell you how the good Lord works. At first, it's supposed to be my whole campaign team. Like, hey, the day we going to do it, that day came, everybody was occupied. And I'm like, all right, us, I got a schedule. I'm sticking that schedule. So I'm going. And I just started doing it by myself. And so the next time they were like, hey, when we going? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll just do it by myself. I might have someone riding with me just to keep me company because they got the iPad in their hand, marking off houses. But it was just something unique that no one has ever done it here in Lumberton because you kind of know who's going to win for the most part. You know what I'm saying? You just look at the dynamics of stuff. You kind of like, this person here, that person is probably going to win. So people take, in my opinion, sometime that people are running for office, just take it for granted that someone is going to vote for them just because they know them. It's like, I'm even going to my aunt's house. Like, I know, I'm hoping she votes for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I say, a lot of my people here, I'm going to everybody's house, bro. I don't take nobody for granted because I think everybody is important, no matter if they're family or not. And so it's to that degree. So I'm loving it.
Yeah, so did you have to do more of the political science research, or you got somebody on your team that says, hey, this is how you could, address this problem or platform how you want to get to or something? Or
we have meetings once a week, official meetings, Zoom calls once a week. And then we put different things like, I heard this, how would we do this? I heard that, how would we do that? So I do have a team that, we do a collaborative effort on, gathering the information, I would say, but also a lot of it is just like, that kind of don't make sense. Hey, what about this? Because I'm thinking military-wise, where let's get to the root of the problem instead of what a normal politician would say. You ask me a question, and I'd be like, well, literacy is a problem. You know what I'm saying? You keep going back to the same thing. Let's get this pivot that we can always pivot to. No, answer the question. If you can't answer the question, I'm going to get you an answer, and I'm going to come back and talk to you about it.
Yeah.
That's, just like you're going for a sailor of the quarter board or sailor of the year board. Like the person asking you the question just about know the answer. So you can't BS them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I tell people. Like, all right, I've never heard of that. Let me do the research and I will come back to you personally and answer your question.
Sound like a Deox debrief.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And I was I was sending you a couple of times. So absolutely. So, and that, I guess, the military experience just makes me think different than the way a normal person would think in this position.
Yeah. And there's gonna be people that like help you along the way too. I was watching Daredevil and the dude. Did you see the new season of Daredevil air? No?
I'm a nerd. Yeah, I watched it. You know that.
So Wilson Fisk, man, he wanted to like build a casino or something at the pier. He like, let's just do it. She like, no, you can't. Like, it's zoning laws. It's this law. It's this law. He like, all right, let's find a way to fix all this. Like,
hey, he was fixing the potholes. Like, I did. Look, we're doing this right now. Like, yo, Mr. Fisk.
Like, yo, you can't.
Meeting, you know?
Hey, so you launched your campaign in February. And I got like February 20th being the Meet the Candidate event that you did. February 20th is also the birthday of your late mother, Sweet Pea. Was that all intentional?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That was my way of including her within this campaign. And whatever date, February 20th, whatever day it actually fell on, that's when I was going to officially announce it. Because I Meet the Candidate, no one has ever done that, to my knowledge, either. So it was like, okay, if we're going to start out on a change, let's start out this way. And so that was and usually February 20th is kind of, I don't know if, your mothers or fathers, you lost someone close to you. But sometimes them days are very hard.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's just like, okay, I need to find a way not to make that day hard. And you know what I'm saying? So now it's a different way. I can remember February 20th because she passed on February 25th, which is right after that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She had a birthday and 5 days later she passed. So it's just a way to minimize that part of it, to put it on a positive light instead of staying in that feeling.
Yeah. So what do you think she would say about you running for mayor of your hometown?
Oh, she would be all in. She was a pioneer in this community. Man, like to hear the stories of stuff that she did for people is, oh man, all right, we got to get, oh man, okay. All right, to hear the story.
We with you.
Right, you know what I'm saying, man? Just to hear the stories. Because she worked in a low-income housing projects that's what she worked at most of her life. And to hear the stories of how she would pay people rent for them, how she would pay their water bill because their water was off, their lights was off. And just to hear, when you up close to something, sometimes you really don't get that. You don't see it. But to hear the stories from so many other people when I started this journey, it just, wow. You know what I'm saying? And just to hear like, oh man, it's just, if I can make half the impact she made, that's success to me. It ain't nothing materialistic. If I can make half the impact she made. We walked into that church, man, when she passed. And Gateway is probably, the church I belong to, is probably the biggest church in Lumberton as far as capacity, as far as capacity-wise. And I've never seen that many people in one place in Lumberton for a funeral. I mean, it was standing room only and you still couldn't get in. They had the TV in the back. It was on and people still standing outside. Like it was, man, it was huge. You know what I'm saying? And just, if I can make half that impact, bro, that's what I say success is. Like, and so that's the driving force right now. It's just like, okay, I want to finish what she started. As far as for this town, I want to finish that. I need to finish that. I'm going to finish that.
Yeah.
That's the driving force behind it. Yeah. I would tell you that right now. Like to you know what I'm saying? To just keep it going of what she started for this town.
Yeah. And you're going in fresh, man. You're going up against two candidates. Both of these guys previously set, both of these candidates previously set. Is it still two candidates you're going up against now? Okay. And they both previously set the seat.
Yes.
Right. So that's, and you already said the current mayor been a mayor for about 12 years.
I think about 12 years, yes.
Or so now. And so just naturally just probably bringing a fresh perspective, to the city, some fresh thoughts and just some newness, and I could see the city being pretty excited about that. But is it anything that you see as like a hurdle going up against people that both set the seat before, anything like that?
Not at all. because I feel like, not to diminish what they have done, because I would tell you the current mayor in 2018 did a proclamation for my mom. I did a day for her where, heart awareness, because she died from a heart attack. And so I did an event for her, and he actually did a day for her, a proclamation for her for that day, which was huge. And I'm, I'm forever grateful for him for doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, because he didn't have to do it. And I just asked him one time, and he's like, oh man, I got you. Like, I came home because I was in the Navy then. So I came home. He came out, he actually did the presentation. So it was huge. So that part is good. But for this town, I would say we done had politicians there. Look where we at. We need a leader. And I believe I have developed ways to learn how to be a politician, but you can't develop ways to be a leader. You're either a leader or you're not.
Yeah.
So for me, they got the experience as far as from the politics side of it. But leadership wise, when I worked at CNIC, we had 1,600 people. So what are we talking about? 1,700 people. So what are we really talking about when you're talking about leadership?
Yeah, and that's what the whole world, right? Like all throughout the world, like, and that's, you got 1,700 people, but you servicing people all throughout the world in every aspect of life. Because we got the MWR aspect, we got the fleet and family aspect, we got housing aspect, we got the base aspect. It's every barracks, like where the young sellers live. Like, so the CNIC is every aspect of our life,
right? And so that's how I look at it, man. When you're talking about a medium income of a household at $40,000, you know what I'm saying. When you're talking about, I think it's right at 38% of the people in this town live below the poverty line. 15% of the people here live below the extreme poverty line. We got to change. Something got to happen. It's got to be a different way to do this. But, and them the people that's been in office. So how do we bring factories here? How do we reach out and get factories here? So that's why I constantly go to the board of supervisors meeting. I went and talked to, this good development company here in South Mississippi, ADP, to get different ways to make Lumberton valuable for people to come here. Yeah. And so it's a different thought process.
Yeah. And you talk about community revitalization and affordable housing. Is it hard out there for people to afford housing out there?
$40,000.
Yeah, I mean, the nation is like what, 77,000 ish.
You see what I'm saying? So so $40,000. So you really just answered your own question on that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So $40,000, bro. And just think about if you get out and you 100% disabled, how much you get. Yeah. Put that in. You know what I'm saying? That puts it in perspective, and that's not including your retirement check. So put that in perspective of people in this town. And that's how I look at it. Like, we have to find a way to just do better as a city. You know what I'm saying? We can bring a factory here, but when you got a school system that's CD average, right? Everybody got kids, right? You don't move to a house. You move to a school district. We all the same way. I don't care how much I like that house. If you're a D school district or C, you're not moving out. You don't care about that house no more. Like, I'm not moving over there. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to get the town to understand is, we have to find ways to, as a city, protect that parent that can't do homework when they get home, when their kids get home. We don't have a boys and girls club. We don't have an after school program. So who is helping that parent? As a city, the people that make over that, we're not worried about. They can send their kids to Civilian Learning Center and so forth. You know what I'm saying? They can send their kid. They can do the extras for their kid. I'm worried about the parent that can't. That's the parent that interests me. The parent that just don't have the ability to. But we quick to say, the teacher's not doing this. And you come home where the parents need to do more. What about the parents that can't? What are we doing for them? Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to get the Boys and Girls Club also. That's why I'm, talking to the principal now to start a mentorship program with the school directly, and I think we got like 7, 8 people signed up. I talked to the assistant superintendent of Lamar County School System, our Lamar County School District. I talked to him. He's on board. So that's the kind of stuff where I'm taking that military knowledge and experience to start these different mentorship programs and just get to the root of the problem. So when we do get a business here, the people move here. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about the sawmill. Sawmill came, great sawmill. But how's that helping us?
Yeah.
You got 165 people. How many people move their family here? Not many. So you get a business and they still driving 30, 40 minutes to work because they're not going to move their kids here. Is the business really helping you? Really not. You're going to get the money off when they buy houses and everything else from property taxes and all of that stuff. That's when the economy grows. So my thing is to get the school system fixed first before everything else. Let's work on the school system. The school system will fix everything else. Yeah. Everything else won't fix the school system. When that grade level start coming up and that business look at Lumberton to say, all right, that's because we got railroads. We got all the other stuff that appeasing to a company to come here. But what else are we going to offer? Oh, they got a good school system too. And they'll come.
Yeah.
So I got a question about that. That's my thing behind it.
I got a question about that though. It was a school bond, right? Some school bond recently that like a bunch of people, a bunch of areas around Lumberton got, but Lumberton didn't get. I guess like the school bond failed. And from what I saw, I'm looking through Facebook and all that, it left a lot of the parents, like a lot of parents in Lumberton felt left behind. So I know we talking about equity and education. Like, how do you go about that as a mayor? What's some of the things you do?
You got to be present. Mm-hmm. If you can't, so we'll put it in our terms in the military, right? If you have someone going up for Sailor of the Year or something like that, or you ranking all the first classes on the ship together. Everybody getting ranked together, right? CO gonna say on all the first class eval. If the DLCPO from that department ain't there and there's no representation, I can guarantee ain't nobody in that department gonna be up there ranked high. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the same as all of this stuff. Like we have a school, we have a school board. No one from Lumberton, actively Lumberton, that stay in Lumberton is on that school board. Yeah, we're supposed to have a representative, but he don't stay here. He's not from here.
Yeah.
So to me, that's why I go to the superintendent meetings. You got to understand what all the parts move to understand that before you can worry about anything else, right? If you're not at the table, you ain't got nothing to say. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's different from between James Sandifer going to a meeting than Mayor Sandifer going to a meeting. James Sandifer, they ain't got to give me a chance to talk. Mayor Sandifer, somebody gonna let me talk. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no choice. And it's a difference, you know what I'm saying? Just like, and that's the mindset I'm taking. So you say the politicians to, what they got to offer to what I got to offer. It's just our mindset in the military just work different. You got to be present you got to be present in the decision-making process to have input on that decision.
Yeah.
No, I was going to ask, so you came back home after you did your career, right? You completed that chapter of your life, right? I was reading that with Lumberton, like a lot of the young people say they leave to get their education. They go to college, a couple states over, right? They don't come back. And I think there's they call it the brain drain or a talent drain where your best and brightest don't get to come back home. Is that something that's discussed? Like, hey, we need to make sure we keep our Lumberton's finest here when they get their education,
It is discussed, but why would you come back?
Yeah.
Why would you go? You know what I'm saying? Why would you go get a degree and whatever and then move back here?
Yeah, there's no draw. I mean,
it's nothing to pull you back.
Yeah, you came home because you want to be home, right?
Right. I'm home. My dad's still living. He's getting older, so I'm coming home. Like I want to spend time with him, but my situation is different. I'm coming home. I don't. It's not pressing for me to go find a job. Mm-hmm. The good Lord bless me in a way where that's not a priority for me. But if you go to college, what's the next thing you're looking for? I need a job. You know, I got to pay whatever back, this loan back, whatever. So why would you come back to a town where your property taxes is the highest? We got the highest median property taxes in the state. So why would you come back here? And if you got kids, why would you come back to a school district that's the lowest in the county? So you coming back for what? You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you appeasing me to come back for? Like, what's your draw?
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything for you to come back to, I just come visit.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's probably the same. Do you have like a lot of people who join the military and leave also?
Not really, because I don't think they understand how the military works. Like when I joined, there was a couple of us joined. It was 5, 6 of us joined at that time. And the only person really retired was myself, and my aunt retired. I think she retired probably 10 years ago. She retired also, but everybody else really got out. So it's not, but I don't think I think it's lack of knowledge, the reason a lot of people doesn't join. You know, they say, well, you got to leave. You got to come back. Well, what's wrong with leaving? You know what I'm saying? If no one is preaching, you got to get out of here to, you know, get a career and then come back. You can give back. Let's try to build our own town up. Why would you know what I'm saying? Like they don't know enough about the military. And then from a recruiter standpoint, this is the smallest school in the county. I don't know how they do on the ASVAB, but before the ASVAB became what is it, 15 now, 16 to get in. You know, when you're looking at 31, whatever it was to get in back then, like, okay, if I'm coming in Lumberton and I got 20 people taking the test and only 2 passing, why am I coming down here again?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not worth, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Right back to education. It all goes right back to education.
They always, that's what I'm saying. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. So you cannot, I just think it's lack of knowledge and just lack of preparation to leave.
Yeah.
Because nobody prepared me to leave for the military. I had a kid. So, hey, you got to go. You got to do something.
Yeah. And so my question is about drugs, crime, some stuff like that, right? So one of the things I saw was like one of the police chiefs got caught smoking weed a while ago.
I ain't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He caught on film.
Yeah, he got caught
in Lumberton, Mississippi?
In Lumberton. Yeah.
Smoking that green, yeah.
I think
that's got to be in Lumberton, North Carolina.
I think
because it's small. Yeah, they'd have been talking about that. We ain't had but a couple of police chiefs. So I think that might have been Lumberton, North Carolina.
Well, is it a brand new? You got a brand new police chief?
We do. Well, she's been a police chief before, and then now she's back again.
Yeah, and is it a drug problem in Lumberton right now or no?
Oh yeah, I would say yes.
And then my question is how do you restore that trust in local law enforcement after leadership changes, stuff like that?
Transparency.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to be transparent of what's going on in the town. One of the mayors that's close to here is Mayor Toby Barker from Hattiesburg. And to me, it's all about transparency. If you are telling the town what's going on and they're hearing it from you, and you are the source of information for the town, I think that helps out. For the police department and for everybody else, it's the source. But if you hand it from old buddy over here, then that person got to spin on what happened. This person got to spin on what happened. Now everybody hate, whatever. So you have to hold your administration to a certain degree of, hey, this is, you know what I'm saying? You just got to hold everybody accountable and also be transparent of what's going on within the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of people think some of these, especially the small towns and stuff like that, they got this revolving door of politicians and leadership is just the same people, just recirculating through. It's like that duty station.
That's it.
Yeah. This dude's name is Flint. This dude's name is Shane Flint. He was the Lumberton police chief, man. But it's a while ago.
North Carolina.
This back
Different cats. He holding down the Lumberton. He ain't, we ain't taking that.
Listen, I take it, but no, that ain't us though.
This back in 2018, Lumberton, Mississippi, WDAM, Lumberton Police Chief Shane Flint has been suspended with pay, according to Mayor Quincy Rogers.
Oh, that's us then.
Yeah, that's what I read.
I stand corrected. Hey, that's us, bro. Yeah.
Folk are loving today. They ain't like that news too much, man. That's the police chief.
That's us.
Hey, Dom, I had a question.
What's up?
Wow.
Like when people talk about there's a crime and drug problem in a place, like people don't wake up. Well, most people don't wake up saying, you know what, I'm about to go steal this, or I'm about to drink this entire bottle. That's either I'm trying to cope, or I'm trying to survive, or I'm trying to escape.
Absolutely.
Right? And you hear about the crabs in the barrel, and the crab shouldn't be in the barrel to begin with. That's what my guy Rev says, right? So it's like, so is that something that's discussed? Like, oh, the crime? Like, no. If we had an education, if we had this, we wouldn't have. That's a byproduct of what's going on. You know, that something that's discussed, or it's like people are like, oh, nah, man, it's crime. You know,
I haven't heard it being discussed, but it's something that will be discussed, because I think that is the root of our problem. You know, poverty drives a whole lot of things, bro. When somebody wake up in the morning and be like, my kids are going to eat tomorrow. They will have a meal tomorrow. Everybody's making a decision. But like I say, when you have extreme poverty, 15%, when the annual income of a household is $40,000, that's the household. That's not a person. It's an entire house.
Wow.
Living off $40,000.
Yeah. That's great.
You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it from that perspective. You know, so I have never had a problem here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen, you know what I'm saying? You see stuff, but it don't. I just think with education, teaching people how to go for a job interview, teaching financial literacy, and you having these classes, it's going to start off slow. But if you stay committed on certain things and just provide people with a way out and a different way of looking at life and a different way of looking at things, it's no doubt in my mind this town will change. Yeah. So choose to change. That's what, it's people got to choose a different way. They got to choose that change though. They got to choose to go vote first. And then they got to choose to be active in the community after that and stop pointing the finger. Like, look in the mirror. Yeah, we got to look in the mirror first. Like, don't look at what that person over there doing. Don't look at what he doing over here. No, look in the mirror first. Let's everybody view themselves from the mirror. Then let's work out from there.
Oh, yeah. You got to get out and vote, man. Got to get out and vote. And then I guess it's also important to have a good, strong team around you, especially in a leadership. In a leadership aspect, you've always done it in the military. You had a real strong team around, because it's a lot of things we looking at, right? It's a lot of things we worrying about. We worrying about abandoned properties, right? Restoring pride everywhere. Because a lot of people say the biggest problem in our crime is neglect, right? Just pride in the city, pride, and then it's limited medical facilities, right?
Yeah, we only have like a little clinic here.
Yeah, so people got to go out of town just to get medical care, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we increase education, we increase jobs, we get some doctors out here, we get like hospitals out here. I mean, it's a whole lot. And then I also read something about some like stinky water. You know anything about this stinky water?
We definitely need to work on the sewage system. The sewage system is very old.
Yeah. So
they have to, we got to come up with a way to get grants to actually fix the sewage system here for sure. They done had a couple, even since I've been home, a couple boil water notices and, things like that, because from neglect, in my opinion. Like,
that's like statewide though. I remember a couple years ago when Deion Sanders still coaching at Jackson State.
Jackson, yep.
He still had that notoriety to bring it up. And then you look at Mississippi generationally, it's been the poorest state in the U.S. because that's like systemically it's been neglected because people just kind of going for it. It doesn't affect me, therefore I'm not going to change anything. So if that affects the bigger places in Mississippi, it's going to affect Lumberton like more so.
A lot of people, in my opinion, they have motives. They get in different positions and they have a motive of why they're in that position. They don't care about the overall care of the city. They'll get in that position for their own personal gains, and that has to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got to get people in there that this is what like they really want the city to grow. Whatever we need to do to make the city grow. From my perspective of being in the Navy, like my lifestyle don't change no matter what happens in Lumberton, but people in my family is not the same way. So do I care about myself more or do I help my family out? And for me, the person that I am, even though I'm good, I'm 100% disabled, 30 years, but what about everybody else? And if you're the only, if you're the only person successful, you ain't did nothing. You gotta make everybody around you successful. At least get them the tools to.
Yeah.
An avenue to be better.
Yeah. And you talk about enriching families a lot. Like that's a part of, that's just a part of your priorities anyways, enriching families, period. So I see Tisha's, she got a burning question, man. What up, Tisha?
I do.
She done forgot
all the stuff that, no, I ain't forget it this time. I almost wrote it down, so I don't. I was like, I might need to write this down. I looked to the side because I was like, I might need to write this down. I might not. So all the things that you're talking about that the city needs, and I don't know much about, I don't know anything about running a city, but all this stuff sounds expensive. Where does the money come from, and where's the money been going?
Where it's going, I can't answer that question, but where it comes from, you have to get grants, and you have to have a city in a place where they can apply for the different grants. And because there's a lot of grants out there, especially for cities or whatever, with our poverty problem, with our literacy problem, there's a lot of grants out there. My thing is I want to hire a grant writer. I want to have an audit for the city to be transparent, to let the city know this is where we at. As for the city, this is where we at. You have a checks and balance system, and we haven't had. I think the last audit we attempted was 2012, and it was unsuccessful, and we haven't had one since. So that's a problem. And so, with that being a problem, how do we fix that? Like the first order of business, we need an audit. Whatever it costs, we get an audit done. And make the city understand the importance of getting an audit. And, to spend whatever amount of money it's going to cost to get that audit. Oh, we just wasting that money. No, you gotta know. Yeah, you can't give somebody your checkbook and say, help me get out of debt. And they're, and you're not even keeping a checkbook. You're not writing down checks, you're writing. So we have to figure that out first, get a successful audit, get us starting from ground zero, which is hard. We done all been in divisions that's bad, but I want to start from ground zero. Right. You start from ground zero and know exactly where you at. Then you make a plan. Then you do a plan of action and milestones. And you know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to say acronyms because my sister, my campaign manager, says, stop talking. Everybody don't know all them acronyms. Say the word out.
But the acronyms work.
But she be like, stop saying all them acronyms.
They do.
They'll sell these books with military jargon. Oh, it's military grade effective. Like, you tell them you don't do it, you've been making money off it. Like,
right. You know what I'm saying? My sister always tell me, stop using all them acronyms. But then you sit down as a council and do a plan of action and milestones and hold people accountable. Now you know where the money's going. Now you know exactly where you're at. What's the city's priority? And you put that out to the people. And if people understand where you're going, they're more acceptable to follow you.
Yeah.
That's true. A city could go that long without doing an audit?
That's great.
That's kind of like, hey, we investigated ourselves.
Damn. Yeah.
So he played the fifth on that Joker, boy.
What's some of the
Teach you good. T's good, boy. T's good.
Yeah. And T, you see what I did too, right? T, you see what I did, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just going by the books, the stuff that I have. The last successful audit, attempted audit was 2012.
Yeah, see that,
and I'll leave that there.
Yeah. So I got a question then. Let's leave it there. So my question is this: as you going door to door, so you've been to many homes door to door. What's some of the biggest lessons or pieces of input that you've been pulling out of some of these conversations?
Don't change. Be approachable. Make sure the people matter. Make sure try to include the entire city instead of a race and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just being there for people, man. That's I would tell you 80. I would say probably the people that's really talking, just to hear the older people just saying how they appreciate someone who really want to see the town grow.
Mm-hmm.
I had an older lady come to me at the senior citizen event I had went to, and she's 84 years old, I believe. And she said, I've been praying for many years to see this city come back. And I really know my prayers have been answered.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stories you hear. Before I die, we want to see Lumberton back, especially the older community. And so that's a charge that I made to myself. Bro, you just gotta go all in. You have to, and it's just to hear the people, because there's an older community. It's just to talk to them and you got some people, man, people don't check on them. And when you knock on that door, you said, it's just and then you open the door and they looking at you who are you? Why are you here? And you give them that card and you start talking, and then it just they just go off, bro. They just, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody ever talks to them. So for me, I want to keep that going. Even, if, after June 3rd, when, once I do win, because I'm claiming it.
Yeah, let's do that.
I want to keep that going. With the school, go down and sit down with a class probably once a week and just have lunch. Be a presence in the community, not a position in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that.
So me being mayor, bro, I told him I don't need nothing else for my resume, so I don't plan on ever putting in a job application again. So I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But to be, you know what I'm saying? But to be a presence in that community, man, and not a position, that means everything to me. People gonna know who I am. I went to a softball game, fast pitch female softball game this year. I have never been to one before. Now, that's the kind of stuff I want to do so people see you at different events where it's a small community. So to see someone in the administration or see someone in the council that's there means something to a whole lot of people. And I'd be amazed how many people came up to me man, are you going to always come? No, I'm not always going to come.
Yeah.
But if my schedule allow, I will be there. That means everything to me. For a town this small, if you was in New York, you ain't knocking on every door. It's just, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, you probably can't knock on every door. But a town this small, you have that as a avenue to reach the people even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would never lose that.
Yeah. I mean, you a public servant of the people? Like a mayor, you think about, a kid, a mayor is supposed to be someone accessible, not someone in some ivory tower, on the hill. Especially like you said, for Lumberton, the accessibility to people, I should be able to say, you know what, I had at least one interaction or seen my mayor. Right. Not in some, car doing a high and by for a photo op, that's commendable to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy you say that, man, because, it started off when I first started going around, I had my cousin's golf cart. And I realized people are more reluctant to stop you in a car because they feel like you're busy. But if you're on a golf cart, bro, everybody got something to say. They waving, they stopping, everything. So literally, I went and bought my own. I first started, I had my cousin. I was like, you know what? This going to work. So as a mayor, you know, riding around on a golf cart. So now they say, hey, man, you ain't seen the golf cart? You know, the mayor on the, you know what I'm saying? The mayor is on the golf cart. You know, you got people like looking for the golf cart. And that's something that it started off just a convenience thing, just up and, jumping in and out of car, or whatever. So now it's like something that I will always keep going because people are more acceptable. You know what I'm saying? More acceptable to like stop you. Like I see him, oh man, there go the mayor. There go the golf cart. And they pull up behind you and wait for you to come out of the house because you're on the golf cart. You know what I'm saying?
Music in this golf cart?
Oh yeah, I got little tunes on that, bro. You know, got a little speaker system on there.
Golf cart?
You're riding around, bro. You can't be listening to some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Listen,
you got your old No Limit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can't listen to G's on the golf course.
You got Frankie Beverly. You got Frankie Beverly and Mays.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go. Southern Soul. You got to do Southern Soul on the golf course.
Come on, playing Lost with A-Ball or something.
Right? Yeah. You trying to get me hemmed up, bro? Come on.
Yeah, you got to do International Players Anthem one time though. And you see that.
I put on for my city. You know what I'm saying?
You got to play some G's.
So I got a dark question. And we can
let's go
get rid of it if we have to. But I saw somebody on Reddit. Is it a Dollar Tree there?
Yes.
I saw somebody on Reddit. Well, let's go back a couple years ago. So my co-host, he not here right now, Damon. He on deployment. He from Mississippi. A couple years ago, we covered a story about bodies, just unnamed bodies being buried throughout the state in different places, stuff like that. I don't know if you followed that story, but a lot of people were blaming it on police. I did see somebody, if you didn't follow the story, then I no reason to ask the question.
But go ahead, though. I think I know you're talking about when they just found all the bodies in the field.
Yeah, somebody said, is it behind a Dollar Tree?
That wasn't here now. You ain't gonna put that on us now. I know that ain't here. Now you ain't gonna put that on us now. Now you read what WDAM said about that one. That ain't us. I know that ain't us now.
Here go my other off the wall question. I don't know if you're gonna answer this one or not.
Damo's fitness be crazy, man.
If you did a push-up competition with the other candidates, who wins?
Come on, man.
Okay.
You know, like that other question you asked me.
He pulled. Hey, remember last week, Damo? You pulled the Jalen Hurts. He was giving the.
Hey, but what's been the most exciting part about this whole process for you?
Door to door. Absolutely, man. It's not even close. Like it's time consuming. Like today when we get off this, 4:00 I'll be back on the roll again. Absolutely going door to door. Because you really get to know the people and people getting to see you and asking you a question that they probably not asked in front of someone else.
Yeah.
They got you one-on-one, and wow, yeah, some of the questions is, yeah, yeah, I'll leave that there. But, but they got you one-on-one and their time is important and they see that you took the time to actually come to them. So, when you're talking about the lady that's first time voting, and that was huge. Bro, something like that, bro, I had a whole day planned out there, bro. Literally, I went home and just like, wow, you just let that thing soak in, man, and you're really making a difference.
Yeah.
Like that is things like that. Like it's just a humbling experience to see that and you part of it.
Yeah.
You part of that book, you part of that chapter. And for someone to feel that confident in you to never vote and what you said, causing them to vote for the first time ever in their life.
Yeah.
Man, it's
that
50%. I tell you, man, if I can make 50% of the impact, bro, you know what I'm saying? I keep going back to that. If I can make 50% of the impact my mom made, so different things like that is like, okay, let's make this thing work.
So election day is June 3rd, y'all. So for the listeners, especially the ones from Lumberton listening, get out there and vote. June 3rd. My question for you is, what are you doing on June 3rd? What's your plans for that day? Where you going to be? You got like plans set up where you going to be at? What's going on?
I can tell you what my plan is, but my campaign team is probably going to change it.
Okay.
I got what I want to be doing on June 3rd, but they, and I have to listen on this, bro. Like, they're a lot smarter than me on this, so I have to listen. So I do know they have a board meeting on June 3rd, which, I will possibly be attending.
Yeah.
I go to the board meetings or whatever, so we'll see.
Okay. I'm going to be watching. So I'm going to be Googling and trying to figure. So, and then
I'm going to send it to you, bro. You ain't got to Google, bro. Y'all ain't got to Google nothing, bro. You will know. I can promise you that one.
Yeah. So, like, when do you, I guess you find out the next morning, or I guess whenever they just tally all of them?
See, now that's a Raymond Kemp thing you just did that, bro. You just try to make us seem like we real big, bro. Don't do us like that. Polls close at 7, bro. You're probably going to find out by 7:05, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you just try to shoot another shot, bro. I'm with you on that. You'll shoot a shot, bro, when I'm on you, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, that wasn't even a shot.
Yeah, that was a shot, bro. That was a shot.
And man, he took out the Ray K-47 shot at you, man.
You know what I'm saying? That was a shot.
What's the
Look at T at the bottom. When you were saying it, T was like, come on, man. You know they going to find out then. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, come on. No, you ain't got to do that.
Teach me taking receipts, man. She's
you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. You don't do us like that, bro.
What's the first thing you're gonna do when you get in office?
Audit. Everything shuts down.
Yeah.
Everything. You know what I'm saying? We just got to find out. And it's basically taking the same mentality I take in the Navy. Like, when I check into a division, you could tell me everything, bro. Let's do this QA inspection. That I know is going to discover everything. So when you do an audit, you know where everything is at, what you're dealing with, and not what somebody's passing down to you.
Right.
Because the book's going to tell you. So once we do an audit, then the audit would dictate where we go from now.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not from Lumberton, but I want to know where the money going. That I want to know. I want to know personally where the money can go.
He's trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to figure it out.
You know what I'm saying? Because the last budget, what the last budget they had over $1 million and something in the account, but having all that money in the account and different things need to be done around the town means what? You know what I'm saying? So that's the part I need to understand. Like, having a whole lot of money with really no leverage in the town look the way it looked, and we need what we need. Like, that's the part I need to get into the books to understand. And I don't know. I'm not in a place yet to be privy to enough information to tell you where we go after that once the audit is complete.
Yeah, that sounds like
find some Brett Favre type character like scheming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but once you find that, once we sit down and do an audit and get the findings of the audit, then we go from there.
He said $1 million in the account. That sounds like the Chiefs mess holding off just for the khaki ball. Like, we just,
yo, man, we never eat at a meeting. I can't get a Chick-fil-A biscuit or something. Like, what's up?
Like, such and such ask, could they get a $200? Nope, we holding out for the khaki ball, man. We can't. Help.
You see what I'm saying, bro? So that's what you got to find out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that is my biggest thing, man. Get that audit done and then let that dictate where we move from now, and making people understand like we need to be there for the families that can't be there for themselves. When you have a poverty line, the way that the poverty line is, what do we do?
Yeah.
How do we correct it? How do we tackle that?
When you look at the state of America as a whole, and there's a lot of people that are scared out there. They don't know, what's next. Things are constantly changing. The education is being attacked. Medicare is being attacked. So it's like, I'm careful. I'm careful.
Nah, she good.
So,
she DD214 certified.
Be careful, Aaron.
I'm careful. But they are DD214 certified. They good.
The platform. I gotta
when you hear like our last episode, you gonna know what to be careful with.
But like there's a lot of people who are scared. No, he didn't. So having someone that can bring that hope, and coming in doing it different, I think that's going to say a lot, because they don't They need somebody who's going to be strong, who's going to stand up to what's coming.
Yeah, and you've done it at so many different levels. Like you've done it at mad different levels already. Ship level, CNIC level, high pressure situations. We talked about enduring freedom. We talk about Iraqi freedom. We talking about like all types of things. You've seen it, you know. I honestly, y'all, I don't have any like more questions except for like the main like questions that we normally ask people before they leave. Like, where can they find you? Boom, boom, boom. Y'all got any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. I would defer to Tisha though.
Tisha. No, I'm good.
She just said, yeah.
So James,
I was confused too. Then I was confused.
I got you. So James, like I'm the history guy. I like digging and stuff, right? And I just want to say you inspired me. I'm not trying to run for office, but I'm kind of thinking, what am I going to do once I hang it up? But I was thinking about the veterans who run for office, and there's a bigger imprint of veterans that are actually doing things when they go back home. And when I thought Mississippi, I thought Medgar Evers. And a lot of people don't talk about his legacy of being a veteran and coming back home and the changes that he's done. I did the numbers like over 1,000 enlisted veterans and officer veterans who made change. So my question to you is, do you feel like you're carrying on that lineage of that veteran, that activist or public servant? Do you feel you're carrying the tradition on, or is just, hey, this is James Sandifer moving forward?
I'm thankful to be carrying on that lineage, but that wasn't a goal of mine to carry on the lineage. The goal of mine is to move this city forward and to carry on my mom's lineage, to carry on what I know she would do. But that just falls in the willpower because of where God led me before the 30 years, blessed me for 30 years. So it's just an automatic thing to happen. But to say that I thought about other veterans and what other people had done prior to me veteran-wise, I would tell you, no, I didn't think about them. I just thought about the city and what's the real purpose of what I feel like God has put me in this position to do.
Right. I had a random question. You asking about food, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was asking what his Waffle House order is. Smothered. Like, what's your Waffle House order? That's how you kind of gauge people. What do you order in Waffle House, man? Like, what's your go-to?
Oh, come on, man. Texas bacon cheesesteak, hash browns, extra crispy.
See how quick he said it?
Bro, listen, I just went the other night, bro. Listen, bro. It's funny you say that. I just left the gym and I'm riding around. So Waffle House, 30 minutes. So I'm going to give y'all another laugh. That's 30 minutes away, bro. Everything, you know what I'm saying? So I'm riding around. I was like, man, I'm on from Waffle House. 30 minutes, bro. Got the Waffle House. I get the same thing every time I go. No swap. I don't need no menu. Same thing. With extra onions. A little bit crispy, not burnt.
See how quick he said it? Like, if you go to a town hall, somebody asks him, like, hey, what'd you get at Waffle House? Oh, man, you fake, bro. I ain't talking to you. You don't get Waffle House, man,
Yeah, bro. I love Waffle House. Absolutely.
Hey, so I got 2 on the spot questions.
Let's roll.
So we do book of the week here. And I just want, you got a recommended book for us, or for the listeners?
I know you done read Chop Wood, Carry Water.
I haven't.
I did not.
Ooh, bro.
I'm writing it down.
I'm writing that down.
Bro, like that, the Chop Wood, Carry Water is, so I got a quote, and it's funny. I wish I could turn this around. So I got a whiteboard here, and when I read a book, I write down some of the quotes. And so one of these quotes on there from that book is you can't cheat the grind. It knows how hard you have worked, and it won't give you anything unearned.
Mm.
So that's one of the things that I live by. And then another one I got up here say, is today your obligation or your opportunity? You can choose.
Mm.
And so that's, that's Chop Wood. And I just love that book. And I always go back to read that book a lot of times and different quotes and different parts of that book just to keep me grounded and like know what I'm doing this for. And it just takes me down to the foundation of, what I'm trying to do. So that one and the four laws, what is that? The Four Agreements, which is another good book.
Yeah, I love that book.
But that chop wood, carry water, bro, that's my go-to.
Yeah, I'm getting it right after this. I'm on it right after this.
And then we can talk about it. Let's set it up again when we get together, unofficial Zoom call or whatever, and just talk about it. When y'all schedule permits, bro. That's what I like to do. If all us reading a book together, let's get together, set a date, boom, and get on it and just talk about it. Because you can read the same thing and just look at it from a different perspective. So I like to hear other people's perspective on the book.
See, that's sad, man. I had a book club. I started up a book club a couple years ago. Aaron was a part of it. It fizzled out, man. I know we got some listeners that was a part of it too.
We still got our books. We talk, post
y'all fault, listeners. my other on the spot, right? Because it's kind of like the last question. What's like coming off of this conversation? What would be like just your last kind of a message and conclusion to the good folk in Lumberton, Mississippi, just about you and the future of the town, future of the city, and like being a mayoral candidate? What's like your last piece that you got for the listeners?
Choose to change. That's it. It's simple. I could, there's no reason to even go all into the other side of it. Just choose to change.
Yeah.
And, if you choose to change and we hold ourselves accountable, we're going to accomplish everything that we look at. And if we don't get there when we're supposed to get there, we'll know we put our best foot forward and we did everything we could to make it. There's no such thing as failure. When you're trying, we're just going to keep trying and just hold yourself accountable as a city. As a city, we have to hold ourselves accountable. Not as a council, of course, but as a city at wide. We got to hold ourselves accountable and don't leave nobody behind. We got to make a change. Whatever that change is, we have to make a change because what we're doing now is not working. And giving me that opportunity, I'm going to push. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be the source of information. And if it don't work, it's on me. It ain't on no one else. It's on me. So choose to change.
Where can people find and support the campaign?
Vote for, we got an email address, voteforsandifer@gmail.com. We got a couple Facebook things, James Sandifer. And then there's 2 different pages may pop up. My LEGGO page will pop up also, and my mayor page will pop up. And we have a like page. You can go to that also under James Sandifer. And then I give my phone number out also. Call me.
Don't forget your IG. I followed you on Instagram just now. So
yeah, what's the title on that? You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna put everything in the comments. I'm gonna put everything in the comments.
Yeah. So they be on me, bro. Like
there's a Linktree
yes
link too that has a bunch of stuff on there. So
the Linktree thing got everything on there.
Yeah.
The Linktree thing got everything on there. And that's what I'm saying, man. You just, I have the people around me to make sure that we attack everything from every different angle. And so what you say, what you learn, right? I'm going to go back to that. Now just, something just popped up. Piffin just, so know what you don't know. Because if you admit what you don't know, you can't miss anything. You know what I'm saying? So with this politics world, the stuff I don't know, I'm going to look up. I'm going to ask for guidance. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make the decision, which I say is best. And I'm going to hold up to that decision if it's good or bad. And so my campaign team, we all, go in, but they'll tell me at the end, hey, you got 51% of the vote. What we doing? And I'm going to own it. Good or bad. If it work, it work. If it don't, I'm going to own it. It ain't their fault, it's mine. Everything falls on me. And as a city, I'm going to put things out, but I'm going to make the best decision that I think is best for the city. And then I'm able to explain it regardless of the results. It's all about transparency.
Let's go, man. You got me charged up, man. You got me ready to go vote, baby. Like, I'm ready to go become a resident. Like, let's do it. I'll be out that way. Ready to become a resident for a little bit. Hey,
come on, bro. Come on,
right?
bro.
Yeah, man. Ready.
Hey, well, you gotta say it for Damon.
Yeah.
I hit those by mistake, but ladies and gentlemen, James Sandifer. Yeah, James Sandifer, the next mayor of Lumberton, Mississippi. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, but I want to tell y'all, man, I appreciate y'all. Like, this is huge. And I know how y'all had to fit it in. We was working with the times, but it's just something about when you know, when the people do something for you and it's not convenient, you know it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want y'all to know, I recognize that. This is definitely the timeline I know y'all normally don't work from, because when we first talking, you did the first thing you said, bro, we got a scheduling team that does all of that. Like, hey, but I got you. You know what I'm saying? And that means something to me. And I just want you to know, I humbly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And if anything y'all ever need from me, please let me know.
Yeah.
Because you gotta have that. And like I say, when it's not convenient and people do it, that's true. That's real. Anybody's, you know, when you somebody friend and it's convenient, everybody got money, it's easy. What about when you go to go eat and your friend broke and you say, man, I ain't asked you that. Let's go. Don't matter.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. I don't take that lightly, man. So really definitely appreciate that. And let me know when we had a dance and had a formal meeting, if y'all want to come, you're definitely invited.
Like, I'm trying to eat. What's the name of the place?
Yeah. Oh, come on now. Cuevas. I got you.
Thank you. Thanks for all you did. Best of luck. I'm going to be praying and I'm going to be hoping and I'm going to be keeping an eye out to see if I see your name pop up on that screen. I can't wait. 7:05.
Yes, sir. See, that's another shot. See that? I can shoot the shot. See, you shot the shot there.
You told me it's going to be 7:05.
Really, you're going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting.
AIC, you see how he did me there?
Negative cons, man. Yeah, Judy.